This is the knockout artist, Chris Hero. And if you're looking for some true heel heat, you better listen to them boys.
What's up, guys? It's Wolverine, that's Machine, Mr. GMSI himself, Brian Cage, and you're watching True Heel Heat. Who better? Nobody.
What's up, True Heel Heat? True Heel Heat. What's up? True Heel Heat. All hands is on me. What's going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Once a champion, always a champion. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching True Heel Heat podcast.
Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip-hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with True Heel Heat Wrestling. Holla at me.
Hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Heel Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for our WWE Royal Rumble 2025 review, discussing last night's show from Indianapolis, Indiana, Lucas Oil Stadium, the biggest Royal Rumble event in history, the most attended, and probably, arguably, the most shocking, because Jey Uso has won the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble, shocking the world, shocking John Cena. You had Drew McIntyre, apparently with real frustration, storming out of the building following his departure, his elimination from the matchup. CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns getting involved in each other's business, being the cause for their elimination from the matchup. There is a lot to unwrap from last night's premium live event. from Indianapolis, Indiana, and we're here to discuss it all as only we can. And to do that, I am joined by all of you out there, and I am joined by my esteemed colleague. You see him usually on the True Hill Heat flagship podcast alongside myself and the tribal queen herself, Miss Chrissy Love. He was not with us yesterday on the flagship, but he decided to show up today. It is the True Draw, Josh. How are you doing?
Sorry I showed up late. I had to send out that big what do you call that? Appeal on X because they fucking suspended my account, those pussies.
Well, I mean, to be fair to us, we don't start our show until like 3 minutes in, because I would have said you're not in the window where you can curse, but you're kind of out of it, so you're fair game. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about your account, sir.
Ridiculous. Somebody tried to take like my name, my fucking images. I reported it, and then all of a sudden I'm the one that gets suspended. While they send an email saying, "Hey, we removed the account that you reported," but yeah, I get suspended.
That's Elon Musk for you. Elon Musk is how you do it. But there is a lot for us to discuss. We appreciate y'all for joining us live. We appreciate y'all for watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back. The simplest way possible is by dropping the thumbs up on this video. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, sound off in the live chat. You know we love to interact with all of you guys here. Hear your thoughts on last night's Royal Rumble 2025 event. There's a lot for us to discuss, whether it be the men's rumble, the women's rumble, the WWE championship ladder match, 2 out of 3 falls, tag team title match. There's a lot for us to discuss with all the surprise returns and everything else. And I mean, I'd be amiss, but you guys know me. Y'all know who I am. I'm SP3. There's a few things y'all know about SP3. He has a lot of jobs. He gets beat up by his daughter. And he has a son who's quiet and never shows up on camera. And I am a Laker fan. So it is Christmas again. Oh my God. You usually have to wait like 12 months for Christmas, Josh. You usually have to wait 12 months for Christmas. And it came 2 months later. Luka Doncic is a Los Angeles Laker. The most improbable, shocking, surprising, wildest trade, I would say, very much in NBA history. And I would say probably in sports history. This trade is the craziest thing ever. So, for that in mind, as we do the intro here, do the usual pleasantries, drop the thumbs up, share the video, show some love, subscribe if you are new, comment in the live chat. We'll try to highlight as many of your comments as possible. But of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to give back to what we do here, you could send a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the contributors that you see on screen with us here, and we always appreciate the support. But as of late, we've been setting goals for our super chat donations, and I got a lot to say. I got a lot to discuss. I want to discuss it with all of you guys. So we have our second channel, True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment. So if we hit our super chat goal that is in the chat, we will be doing a live stream later this afternoon for Luka Doncic being a Los Angeles Laker. Hollywood Luka. In wrestling terms, this is basically Finn Balor and an NIL player for Will Ospreay. That's basically the trade in wrestling terms. If y'all wanted to, if you don't understand basketball, and you want it in wrestling terms, you got a guy who's good, but might be a little bit injury prone for one of the very best in the world. That's basically what the Lakers did. Finn Balor for Will Ospreay. So hit that goal. We'll be doing the stream. Already got Chase down. He's going to be joining us for that if you do hit the super chat goal. So Let's see if we can hit it here. Josh, any thoughts on the Luka Doncic to the Lakers trade?
I mean, it's confusing. I just don't get it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think Anthony Davis is a bomb, but he's 31 years old. He's getting up there in age. But also, I think what I'm more confused about is the response from the Mavericks. Their reasonings doesn't make really real sense to me.
Their reasoning is they wanted to win now, so they traded their very best player, a generational talent who's only 25 years old, but yet a top 5 player in the league, who took them to the NBA Finals last year. They traded him for Anthony Davis, who is a top 15, top 20 player, but is very injury prone and 7 years older.
Yeah, I mean, at least in comparison, at least this year he's been playing a lot. I think he's played
last 2 years. Last 2 years he's been playing.
So like, I mean, last 2 years he's been pretty good. Luka on his end, he's not the most like, he's pretty injury prone himself, but not to the extent of Anthony Davis. He does miss a lot of games. So that's something that the Lakers would have to keep in mind. But I think the difference is that his upside is so much greater, right? I think that's where it becomes like the level of like when people are comparing it to like the wrestling. Hey, what does this mean in wrestling terms? It's because Luka's upside is a lot higher because of his scoring. The guy can fucking score 30 plus in his sleep. That's why it's such a big difference.
He basically averages a 30-point triple double.
And it's just again, I think that's why I'm more confused, right? I think if there's a report saying like maybe Luka wanted out or he was dissatisfied, I could probably believe that a little bit more than, hey, we wanted to win now. I just don't believe that. I don't believe that sense. And then I think they even came out with another statement today stating, I guess, like his pending free agency, like in a year and a half or some shit. But I'm just like, but you have the chance to sign him to a super max deal. Like, I'm just, again, that's why I'm confused by it. And I guess like the GM himself is not helping the case. I think I would probably prefer Mark Cuban to speak about it. Because again, Mark Cuban sold it
to the Saudis, so he's been more hands off.
No, I mean, but like basically, so what happened was that when he sold the Mavericks, right? A lot of people don't know when Mark Cuban sold the Mavericks, he sold it to a basically gambling company. So Mark Cuban still owns a percentage of the Mavericks, just not the amount that you would think. He owns a small percentage. However, the plans that they have in place, he would be making more money with the percentage he has now than being the owner. That's why he sold it, because there's like logistics behind it of, all right, they're trying to legalize gambling in Dallas. That's the reason why that deal happened. So he's probably going to be making more money once that kicks in. That's why he did that. But the agreement within the sale was that he was basically still running operations with the Mavericks, right? Now, I don't know how deep he is in that, but that was the agreement. So basically, he's still part of the organization. So for me, that's why I'm just like, I would love to know like his explanation or his thoughts, because Mark Cuban's a pretty loyal, like a lot of people are pretty loyal to Mark Cuban, right? That's why Jason Kidd went back, right? He went back with the organization, and as much as many times he's went back, a lot of like old.
All right, Josh, relax. You're kind of giving away the pooch of what's the goal for the super chats. Yeah,
No.
I just wanted some quick thoughts. I didn't expect you to keep.
I just because since I'm not going to be on the stream, I just want to get my thoughts. That's why I prefer to hear what Mark Cuban has to say, because again, the Mavericks right now, they're not helping themselves, right? Their explanations are just. They're just fucking ass. And I don't understand it. It's like, you really think Anthony Davis is going to help your team win the championship?
Win now. They're about winning now. Kid Cudi saying, what about our defense now though? Our defense sucks, but we had a top 5 defensive player in the NBA, and we were in the bottom 10 of defense. So it's not like it's gonna hurt us that much. We were 20th in defense out of 30 teams with Anthony Davis, who's a top 5 defensive player. Does not really matter at this point. This is more of a trade for the future. We were basically at no man's land. We had to win now with a 40-year-old LeBron James and a 32-year-old Anthony Davis, who the organization wasn't confident could be a number one. We appreciate everything that Anthony Davis did for us because he was a solid contributor. He averaged 25 and 10 for us throughout his 5 years with the Los Angeles Lakers. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have won the championship in the bubble in 2020. All of that withstanding, Luka Doncic is a top 5 player in this league. He's a generational talent, and he's 25 years old. He's going to be an MVP candidate, if healthy, for the next decade. That is a trade that you make. And the fact that Dallas only offered it to us. Because if they offered it on the market, there's no way the Los Angeles Lakers would have scored that trade. Like, yo.
And I think that's why there's more to the story. I think that's why there's a lot more to the story. There might be things that we don't know about.
There definitely is, and that's what we're gonna do. That's why we're gonna discuss this over on.
But then also, like to that question about the defense, it's 2025. The NBA don't play no fucking defense. Who gives a shit? Like,
no, defense wins championships. Our defense has to get better, and we're not done.
It does.
This is not going to be our only championship. Our only trade in this trade deadline. We're going to make another deal, move before Thursday.
Yeah, but even so, I mean, like the defense thing, like, does it really matter? Like, I mean, that it's like for the Lakers, if they're already in the bottom of 20. Doesn't matter at that point. That's why.
Yeah, that's why I said. Like, I understand the question, but it's just like we had Anthony Davis and we were number 20 out of 30 teams. Like having Luka Doncic, who doesn't play any defense, will probably be like 27, 28, 29, but it wouldn't matter because he's gonna score like 10 more points than what AD does. And don't do that. Don't do that, Vala B, because if you don't even have do you even have a team, sir? Do you have a team? Because I will roast your fucking team for saying I have a Mickey Mouse champion. The only people who say, oh, it's a Mickey Mouse ring is people who don't have rings, who don't win championships, whose teams never even sniffed a championship, or they just jumped on a bandwagon for a championship. It's the Lakers? No, then get off our bandwagon. Get off our ship. I'm kicking your ass out of here. Your ass is off the bandwagon now. For saying that bullshit, listening to
you can say you need defense now, but I mean, when you have teams scoring 140 points, 150 points in a game, does it fucking matter?
No, but you need really defense in the playoffs. In the playoffs, it becomes a half-court game. You need to get stops. So this is not a team that we have right now that is going to win the championship this year. We have to make another move. But even with that move, I'm not confident that we're going to win the championship. I'm just confident that we're in a much better position in 2, 3, 4, 5 years than we were yesterday.
And then, like, are you confident as a Laker fan, right? Because honestly, me speaking, I don't hate the Lakers. I find the Lakers to be like just like whatever. Like I don't hate the team, so whatever they do, like it's whatever for me. But do you feel confident yourself about like moving forward, like somebody like JJ Redick? Do you think he could handle the reins of getting Luka, getting LeBron on board? And hopefully do something.
Yeah, him and LeBron have a great relationship, and he played with Luka in his final season in the NBA. So he has a good relationship with both of them. This is the Lakers literally basically changed everything about the organization with this one deal because we were on LeBron's timeline. That was win now. They wanted us to, and LeBron and AD wanted us to make a deal so we can try to win this season, which I don't know if there was any type of deal that was gonna have a LeBron and AD Lakers competing with the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Boston Celtics, or the Cleveland Cavaliers to win a championship this season. So this was more of a deal to put us in a championship position for the next 5 years instead of just this year. And now we're on Luka's timeline instead of LeBron. And I much prefer being on a 25-year-old's timeline than a 40-year-old's, no matter if he's the greatest 40-year-old to play the sport.
The only thing I would say is for the Lakers, they just got to make sure they lock that contract down. Because
he's definitely going to re-sign with the Lakers, but it's going to be up to him. He should probably sign a 3-year with a player option, because 2028, 2029, his next deal would be $72 million a year.
That's kind of off.
Yeah. Because he was about to make that super max. He was gonna make $345 million over 5 years. So Dallas basically screwed over Luka because he's not gonna make that money this summer. He can't make that money back. He's gonna have to recoup that money by making the right deal this summer, which is probably the 3-year with the player option, and becoming a free agent in 2028, where he could sign for $72 million a year.
It's we'll see how it goes, because I mean, that whole fuckery, man. All I'm saying is that David Stern definitely would not allow this.
David Stern wouldn't let us get the Chris Paul trade. You think he would have let us get Luka Doncic?
Yo, he would have like, oh no, he would have shut that shit down like immediately, like 5 minutes in, like, oh no, we're not doing this, gentlemen.
We got a couple of super chat donations before we get into the WWE Royal Rumble. If you want to talk some more about Luka to the Lakers, send some more super chat donations. Help us hit our goal. We'll be doing a stream over on THH Sports and Entertainment. But we got in the chat already with us today, Vala B, who says, if you had Jey winning the Rumble, you're a liar. No one expected that, but I don't hate it. And it was still the second most surprising thing of the day. Thank you so much, Vala B, for the super chat donation. Yeah, I was in shock from Jey winning the Rumble. Like, I literally was on stream last night on the watch party, and I was stunned. I was like, oh shit, they really did that shit. But let me tell you, when I saw that text at 12:30 a.m. at night last night, I fucking leaped off of my couch. I was like, oh shit! Oh shit! My missus was like, "Will you shut the fuck up?" But I was just too excited to see that Luka Doncic was a Los Angeles Laker. We got another super chat donation here from the King Ellie Show. Thank you so much, King Ellie. He says, "Love how people calling it the worst Rumble ever because their favorites don't win." I looked on cagematch.com this morning. My lord, this cage match, dude, these cage match fans hate this year's Royal Rumble. I was like, oh man. I was like, yeah, I mean, it was pretty much good vibes on, like, when I went on like Twitter and I was scanning the timeline, pretty much good vibes from most people. A lot of people shocked off of the result of the main event, but good vibes in regards to the show. And then I checked Cage Match this morning, and my lord, 4.93 is the rating for the Royal Rumble out of 160 votes. And it's all over the place. Like, there's 110 rating, there's 3 9s, there's 18 for 8, there's 39 for 6, there's 32 for 5 out of 10, there's 10 for 0 out of 10. Like, yo, it's just all over the board with those cage match fans. Like, and it really comes down, most of the, if you read the reviews of it, it really comes down to their favorites not winning and being upset that Charlotte and Jey Uso won the Rumble. It's not about the quality of the show. It's mostly about their favorites not winning. I agree with King Ellie. What have you seen, Josh?
Well, I mean, from X before I was suspended, I kind of saw a mixed bag, to be honest with you. Like, people who were really high on it, they were really high. people who are really low on it were super low. I was seeing that WWE was people were roasting them for the choice of the win. Even John Escudero. I mean, I'm sorry to call him out. He's a good friend. Basically the owner of Dirt Sheet Radio. He posted that hilarious picture of Big Bird with Darth Vader, like in that scene. They photoshopped Big Bird, and he's like, "Yo, they really got Jey Uso in the final two." So I mean, it goes to show you, like, there's people who love it because of what Jey has done for himself, right? But then there's also people who don't love it because they view him as a mid-carder. They view him as somebody who loses a lot. And I think both things could be true, right? I think both things could be true. Jey Uso has worked hard, right? He's worked hard. He's done what he has to do. And on the other hand, there's been times where we've seen a lot of mid performances in the ring. So I could see it. I could see why. Me personally, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was laughing like the last half hour after the Royal Rumble because I couldn't believe it. I was like dying.
This like I've heard a lot of people, you know, listen to the post show with Big E, and he compared it. I think the panel compared it to Kofi Kingston in 2019, and you know, you had Michael Cole comparing it to the Yes Movement, and Pat McAfee saying it's like the other Y movement, the Yes Movement, Eat movement, and stuff like that. To be honest with you, I've come up with the best. You know me. I come up with the best analogies and comparisons. This would be if Vince McMahon booked Zack Ryder in 2012 to win the Royal Rumble.
That's exactly what it is.
Yo, I saw your face when you made that connection. I saw it, and I guarantee some people watching this or listening to this made that connection and was like, "Oh shit, it is that." Yes, this is that.
Yeah, because the Kofi comparison, I can't compare it to Kofi because one, people got to look at their circumstances. When the whole thing happened with Kofi Kingston, right? Somebody got injured. Mustafa Ali got injured. Kofi got implemented. And then he became like this whole aura of like fandom because of how he performed in the Elimination Chamber. Kind of just took off, right? And basically it forced Vince McMahon to pivot whatever plan he had. There's a good chance he probably had no real plan. And he's like, wait a minute, all these fans are really behind Kofi. Let's do something with this, right? So they did like the storyline of having Kofi going through these hoops, and like New Day facing a bunch of people for Kofi, and then Kofi gets his title match, right? Well, but all that shit was like forced. It was pivoted because the fans' reaction. It was pivoted. Same thing for the Yes Movement. They went a different direction because, you know, CM Punk left. We don't know what was the outcome to that. And then people got behind Daniel Bryan again. And it became to a point that it was too hot. You can't really pivot. In this situation with Jey Uso, the crowd is behind Jey Uso, but there wasn't like a situation where it was like the same fashion, in my opinion. Like people were just enjoying what they were seeing with Jey Uso.
I think people who didn't live through it or forgot what it was, I think that's what they're making like the comparisons to those two. Those two was basically the fans being like begging you, like, no, you need to do this. We will not accept anything else. These fans were behind Jey Uso, but it wasn't to that level. It wasn't to we're not going to accept any other person besides that person, and we will riot against you if you choose anyone else. It was that type of thing with Bryan Danielson in 2014, and to a lesser extent, but still very, very much prominent in 2019 with Kofi Kingston. It was not that last night for the Royal Rumble. There was at least 4 other options that would have gotten a good response, a big response, very much the fans very positively receiving the result.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, again, there's no discredit to Jey. It's just that I think people, I would say for the majority, I could be wrong, but I think they just got pretty comfortable with what Jey was gonna be, right? They're like, hey, he's a hype man. He's gonna be this. He's gonna get TV time. He sells merch. I think people, for the most part, got comfortable to what he was gonna be. But if you was like yesterday, somebody made a post, right? And this was hours before the Rumble, right? They said, I got $500 on Jey Uso, and they wrote yeet, right? And I said, you are out of your fucking mind. It just means you hate money. That was my response. I said that. I was like, you must hate money, because there's no way in hell he's...
Did they reply back to you after the Rumble?
Oh, no, I didn't. I said, what the fuck? And then I was like, I started like trolling. I was like, this shit is rigged. I was like, this shit is more rigged than the NFL. And yo, the dude was dying. Like, because he said he couldn't believe it himself. Like, he couldn't. And I was just like, bro, I know you ain't got no $500 anyway, so you weren't dropping nothing. Don't lie.
Yo, most of the people who said that shit did not believe it fully. They were trying to make themselves believe it. This was an improbable, the most shocking Royal Rumble win in history. And yes, I am counting Vince McMahon in 1999.
I would say, yeah, that's true.
We got another super chat donation from our good brother Chilling with Chase. Thank you so much, Chase. He says, can't wait until the Wolves trade Anthony Edwards for Joel Embiid. We're at that point. No trade is impossible. Like, literally, Kevin Durant, who recently, 2 years ago, got traded to the Phoenix Suns. That was like the last big trade during the trade deadline that we had saw. Even he said, I had never thought I would see something like this. Like Luka Doncic getting traded in this economy. Like, you know, he was like, yo, that's crazy. That's insane. We also got Chuck Berries with a super chat donation. Thank you so much, Chuck Berries, for the extra love there. He says, what's good, SP3 and Josh? Good Rumble overall. Good trade for your Lakers. My Sixers squad has nothing but damaged goods, and we can't trade them SMH. I'm sorry about your Philadelphia 76ers. You made a bad signing picking up Paul George because you already had to deal with Joel Embiid not being healthy. Now you got to deal with his ass. But I think y'all will make the play-in, though. I will give y'all that. I think y'all are good enough to make the play-in. And I see people enjoyed my comparison. Kai saying, yikes, what a comparison. We also got Chase who says, yeah, I laughed my fucking ass off. That is a good comparison. We also got Kid Cudi who says, Zack Ryder wasn't outselling the main eventers like Jey Uso is. Yes, he was. At one point, he was number one in merch, Kid Cudi. Back in 2011, he was number one in merch. When The Rock was out there, at Survivor Series 2011 in Madison Square Garden, in his first match back in almost like 7 years, they chanted for Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder was the last time a mid-card star got as over as Jey Uso. That's why it's the perfect comparison.
And then also it got to a point that they actually did bring him out at the end of the show. So he could like
it got to the point, Kid Cudi. Maybe I don't know if you were around or not, maybe you weren't watching or not, but it got to the point in 2011 they stopped making merch for Zack Ryder so he wouldn't be outselling John Cena as much as he was.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's revisionist history that he's having, but Zack Ryder was a thing, and then part of it was because of the YouTube thing. Like he made that hot, and that's how he got like over with the fans. Regardless of, hey, you might hate the guy, or you might not like the guy, or you might think he's mid as fuck. He did some things back in the day that got him over.
And changed how WWE was now to this day.
Yep, especially with social media and online stuff. That was a part of it. So I mean, regardless, I think Zack Ryder / Matt Cardona does have a kind of like a small footnote in WWE history when it comes to that, when it comes to like socials and stuff. So,
yep.
We got
a couple of comments I want to highlight here. We got Bell in the chat who says Jey Uso winning had me screaming at 2:30 to 3 a.m. in the morning. She also says, honestly, those complaining about Jey Uso winning, I'm just gonna sit back when Logan Paul wins a Rumble and listen to them contradict themselves and be like, oh, now you're okay with Jey winning? Okay. That I'll be honest with you, Bell. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Logan Paul winning a Rumble and them being mad about that does not make it okay for Jey to win the Rumble. I don't know. Like that didn't make too much sense.
I think I know what she's trying to say. Basically saying like if Logan Paul wins the Royal Rumble, then people are gonna say, oh, well, Jey Uso winning is not so bad now. I think that's what it is, but I still think people would still be upset either way.
Yeah, they'll still be upset. Like, I don't. That's bull. That's bull. You can be upset about both.
Yeah.
One being worse than the other doesn't make the other okay. It just makes them both trash. and I'm saying that as someone that was very pleasantly surprised by Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble, but that's
I'll get to how I reacted
by saying a worse option makes the other option better. No, it just makes both trash. That's what it is.
And like as I stand with it, I'll get into it, but I'll get into it when we talk about the Rumble match. Him winning, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. So I'm kind of like, I wouldn't say I'm not in the middle of it, but again, I don't hate it completely. It's very questionable, and I'll get into that. Like, there's some things that I was like, so
I answered Ryan Satin. He said, I don't watch basketball, so explain this to me in wrestling terms about Anthony Davis, Luka Doncic trade. And I got a few likes for this one. I put WWE gets Will Ospreay, Lee Johnson, and EJ Nduka in exchange for AEW getting Finn Balor, Deion Lennox, and an NIL recruit. I took my time because I saw where Romeo didn't like what was it? I think it was Brian Waters who put Damian Priest for MJF, and I also saw some people who are down on MJF right now being like, oh, that's not a good comparison. I think that this is the best wrestling terms for Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis.
I mean, people are saying it's not a good comparison. I know Romeo was trying to make the thing about like somebody not winning championships, but I'm like, Luka's not a champion himself.
No, the Anthony Davis for Damian Priest one, I didn't understand why he was upset about that. I think that's a very accurate one.
I know why
they're both upset.
I know why they're
both. I know because he says, "Oh, Anthony Davis is injury prone." That's why I put Finn Balor instead of Damian Priest. But Damian Priest and Finn Balor, Damian Priest and Anthony Davis are both big men who can't win championships on their own.
And they're kind of are getting up there in age.
Yeah. Damian Priest is 41 years old.
Yeah, and I think also Ben, he was trying to make the argument about the championships thing. Like, oh, Luka's not champion, MJF is the champion. But I'm just like why is that? Who gives a fuck? We're talking about star power. Luka is not a championship, but he's a fucking superstar. That's the point. This guy has nothing to do with championships. Like, what are we doing?
Oh man, keep coming with those comments, keep coming with those super chat donations. I appreciate y'all for the support in the chat. We got Kid Cudi who says people would have complained no matter who won. That's what happens when you have characters that people are invested in. Yeah. I think so. I think if CM Punk won, there would have been John Cena, Roman Reigns fans upset. I think if Roman Reigns wins, there would have been Punk fans who were upset. a lot of it comes down to that, in my opinion. We do have also Belle showing love to you in the chat. She says, yeah, that's what I meant. Thanks, Josh. Due to the way my brain works, due to my autism, I tend word things a way that can come off confusing. Sorry, SP3. It's all good. It's all good. That's why I put it out there, because it was a good comment, but I just didn't understand it fully.
I think, like when it came to the other I would say, like, I think if Roman won, I think the reaction would be a lot more positive. You have like the small percentage of fans who will be upset. I don't think it would be as divided as it is with Jey.
I mean, we just gotta put out the information that is up there, because as of what time did they put this out there? They put this out there around 2 or so, around 2 p.m. The Royal Rumble videos were not doing very well on the WWE YouTube channel. Yeah, here's the stat. As of 8 a.m. this morning, WWE's YouTube upload of Jey Uso's Royal Rumble win has 12,000 likes compared to 16,000 dislikes. WWE's YouTube upload of Charlotte Flair's win of the Women's Royal Rumble has 5.4K dislikes compared to 16,000 dislikes. So people are much more upset about Charlotte winning than Jey.
And then you haven't heard much about, like, I mean,
you haven't heard. I think people are louder about Jey because they feel like this is not where Jey's supposed to be. Where with Charlotte, it's just like, oh, again? Like, you just came back and I'm already tired of you type shit.
That's what makes it funny. I mean, yeah. We'll still got what? We'll get into everything. Like, I got some thoughts about the entire show, so it'll be fun.
And we all got one more thing to touch on before we get into the actual show, because yes, I see Vala B mentioning it, and I did read it before we went live here. The good brother, our good friend of the channel, Alex McCarthy of Daily Mail, he along with Lewis Browning have a new report in regards to Drew McIntyre. Vala B says he's saying that his frustrations are legit. It was reported by PW Insider last night that Drew McIntyre was seen storming out of the Royal Rumble, very upset with how he was eliminated from the matchup. Daily Mail put out a report saying Drew McIntyre's backstage frustrations with WWE are very real, despite fans speculating that they are part of a storyline. Mail Sport can reveal. It talks about basically him being deep involved with the Royal Rumble, but then it says, a source close to the event told Mail Sport that McIntyre was left fuming with the actions of one individual in the match, who was also accused of trying to take center stage when McIntyre's elimination was due to take place. His fume when he was eliminated was clear to see, but it has been learned that the fume was genuine. McIntyre stormed out backstage and had to be calmed down by his family and members of the locker room. Mail Sport has also learned that McIntyre is due for a program with Damian Priest heading into WrestleMania 41, a bout described by a source as, quote-unquote, a nothing match. McIntyre is of the opinion that he deserves a more prominent feud after the most successful year of his career in 2024. What do you say? What do you think, Josh? What do you think about Drew McIntyre being upset? I want to see if WWE has uploaded or someone's uploaded Drew McIntyre's elimination, so we can try to reckless speculate who is the individual that pissed him off. Let me see.
Oh, so, everybody's happy in WWE. That's good to know.
What a coinky ding! I thought everything was all rosy and sunflowers in WWE. You trying to tell me?
We'll probably get like a report. We'll probably get like a report card or something.
Or they'll probably come out and be like, "Oh, we worked the dirt sheets again. They believed that that Drew McIntyre was upset." I'm sorry. Like, I'm just gonna tell y'all, if y'all are one of those fans that gets all hyped when WWE does that shit and doesn't realize that WWE is just fucking working you into believing that the dirt sheets are wrong and shit like that. No, they just work things out. Like the whole Alexa Bliss shit, they just work things out. Both things can be right. Both things can be right. The original point about WWE having a contract dispute with Alexa Bliss can be right, but they worked it out. That's what the key is. That's what the key is. Like, goddamn, you fucking idiots. All right. So I think our good brother Chase has sent me the clip, so we could put it on screen for us, and we could try to figure out. Or we'll go frame by frame, since we probably can't play the video, can't play the clip because we don't want to get copyright infringed by WWE up our ass. So we will do it. We will just skip ahead frame by frame, like we're showing the pictures, and we'll try to figure out who pissed off Drew McIntyre trying to get their moves in. Because I do remember with McIntyre's elimination, I don't know if you remember, Josh, I do remember that someone was center ring and he was trying to eliminate somebody and then he just gets pushed out. So I know there was someone center ring. We just have to figure out who was center ring. I don't remember that much. All right, so I got it up here. Shay sent it to me. We're going to share the screen here. Let me see here. Let me see. No, that's not what he's pissed off about. He's not pissed off about Priest eliminating him early. Apparently, from what I've read with this report, it's the fact that someone was trying to get their moves in and took center stage. Oh, okay. All right, so I'm going to reveal who the culprit is. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready, Josh? The culprit is either Logan Paul or LA Knight. Those are the guys who are center ring when all of this goes down. It's either Logan Paul or LA Knight. I'm honest. I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's LA Knight.
It sounds like something he would do.
Mm-hmm. I think it's LA Knight because he did come in and he went on a little he went on a little run basically in the matchup. I know everybody wants to be like immediately, oh, it's Logan Paul. Logan Paul is not the one on offense here. So like the whole wording of Drew McIntyre being upset because someone had to get their moves in, I don't know if that's Logan Paul. I think I saw more moves being done or more like run of offense from LA Knight instead of Logan Paul. What do you think?
I think it was LA Knight. I'll have to see this whole sequence myself, but knowing LA Knight and knowing his history as Eli Drake, this kind of sounds like something he would do.
There we go. All right, so we'll drop it off here so we don't get any copyright strikes from WWE. Kid Cudi says, I mean, it is more fun when you get worked. Don't like all the stuff spoiled. I'm fine with stuff like this because this is not stuff where we usually would know, and a lot of the backstage stuff interests me more than the stuff on camera sometimes. I'll be honest with you. Maybe it's just because I do a YouTube channel. I don't know, guys. Maybe that. Crispin Watt says, language, ? I thought this was a Christian wrestling news channel. Who the hell lied to you? I'm sorry, they lied to you. They lied to you, sir.
They definitely lied to you because I don't know where the fuck you got that from.
We got also Vala B with a good point saying that LA Knight has some history of rubbing people the wrong way. He does. I think you were kind of alluding to that when you mentioned him as well. Like, yeah, he does not have the best history as far as getting along with people backstage.
Yeah, and there's a lot of casual fans who don't know about his past because they didn't watch TNA or they didn't watch other stuff. but I mean, it happens. People do have a reputation. Pentagon does have a reputation himself, but overall, he's a good worker and he's committed if you book him. But he does have some things that are like, it's questionable. But a lot of people have it. It happens. So I think it was all night.
Yeah, that's also true. Chase saying, wasn't there a report LA Knight when he was on the rise, rubbing people the wrong way? Yeah.
Yes. And it's crazy. I forgot about that until that was mentioned. So I mean, he has a reputation, and again, people. The problem with I don't want to say that it's a problem in WWE, but when WWE PR or they present themselves as like, oh, everybody's on board and this and that, it's all bullshit. Why? Because it's a wrestling business. Wrestling business is a cutthroat business. People want to be on the top. Like if you're telling me that everybody's willing, hey, you know what? I'm gonna sit back. You go ahead. You do your thing. You be the top guy. There's a lot of individuals who don't like that shit. Like, and Punk himself is no different because he was that recently. So there's a lot of people. WWE wants to make it seem like a lot of people are giving. Realistically, a lot of people are not giving because, again, that's the nature of the beast in the wrestling business.
And I'm just gonna put this out here, and I'm not trying to badmouth him or anything, but I'm sure him and Jey have a good relationship and stuff like that. They're probably friends. He's probably happy for him on on a friendship level. But you telling me that CM Punk don't feel a certain way about Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble, then you don't know who CM Punk is. This dude doesn't have another shot to win another Royal Rumble until 2027 if he stands by his word, because he's not going to Saudi.
That's true. And
now his WrestleMania main event, that's not a guarantee anymore. Like, you're telling me both of these people who won the Royal Rumble not going to be in the main event of WrestleMania? You telling me Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley not going to be in the main event of WrestleMania? And yeah, you could say, oh, you're telling me CM Punk and Roman Reigns, or CM Punk and Seth Rollins, or CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns is not going to main event a night of WrestleMania? Without a title, it can main event night 1 of WrestleMania. Because the next time a night 2 main event is non-title, it would have to have someone with the last name Johnson. Preferably first name Dwayne.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, again, it's the wrestling business. Like, that's how it's the wrestling business, and there's people who are jealous. And I know this not only firsthand from experience, but, Cody has kind of alluded to this himself at times. That's why I've been telling people, even though I love Cody Rhodes, he's one of my favorite wrestlers. This is why he'll be a great politician, because he sells a lot of bullshit at times.
Yeah. And to me, I feel like the only top guys who are happy for Jey completely and don't have any type of resentment is John Cena and Roman Reigns. Because I feel like they're fully confident in their positions, that they don't mind Jey winning this one.
Yeah, and then also, Jay's family for Roman, so obviously you're gonna be happy for family.
And he made him. That's his like Jay's wins is Roman wins. I'm sorry guys, you got to understand, in wrestling business, people make other people. Like Sting, who just retired. Ric Flair made Sting. That's what it comes down to. That's what it is. For Roman Reigns, there was like a lot of people kind of responsible for making him into a top star. So you couldn't even kind of give one person kind of the nod, or you could say the Shield made him, and you can give credit to Seth Rollins for kind of helping him along the way in that first year, if anything, because he had so many people that like put him over. But most guys are made by that one guy. One guy is gonna make him. Like Kurt Angle, in a way, he's the guy that made John Cena, because he had the first matchup against him. They feuded during his rise during the Doctor of Thugonomics. When he did become the WWE champion, one of his main feuds was against Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle can get credit for making John Cena. But when it comes down to Jey Uso, who made Jey Uso? They ain't no argument. They ain't no debate. It's Roman Reigns. He made Jey Uso. So Roman, I think that he's fully all right because he's confident in his position, but also Jay's wins is his wins.
Yeah. You know, like, again, I mean, it's funny because, again, WWE, you know, they've done a good job of wanting people to believe certain things. That's good on them. But someone like me and you who knows how some of these workers work and getting the info that we know, we just know like what it is at the end of the day. And, you know, some people are not going to be happy about it. They'll put up a front, like CM Punk will put up a front that he enjoys it, but deep down, I'm pretty sure he feels some type of way about it because like last year was, you know, he was guaranteed night one to main event. It got taken away from him. And then now it's probably not going to happen.
We shall see. We shall see how WrestleMania turns out. The road to WrestleMania is going to be very interesting. But let's talk now about the actual show. We did enough talking. You can send a super chat donation if you have any questions, any hot takes, any comments that you want to have read out. Show your support. Let us hit that goal in the chat. The opening of the show, we kick off with Stephanie McMahon coming out. She announces that this was the biggest Royal Rumble in history as fireworks went off. They announced the attendance as over 70,000 in attendance, despite the graphic that was on the screen when Triple H said it, saying 65,000. Hilarious. Michael Cole, Pat McAfee, and Wade Barrett are our commentators for the show. The ring mats are white with a few ads, but not as many as Monday Night Raw. And we got our opening contest, which was for the Women's Royal Rumble matchup. During each elimination, everyone's creon had everyone's lower third had the wrestler's national flag. A graphic remained on the screen that provided updates on how many people were left and eliminated. That might have been the best debut of any debut on the Royal Rumble because it made it so engaging to watch because you were like, oh, okay, I know there's like 7 people in the matchup right now. 6 have been eliminated. Next up is number 19. It felt like you were watching a ESPN basketball game, an ESPN football game. It just kept you really up to date. This was a great addition to this year's Royal Rumble. And our first entry into the Royal Rumble was Io Sky coming in at number 1. She was joined by former Women's World Champion Liv Morgan. They went back and forth for a bit. Our little rematch from Saturday night's main event. Coming in at number 3 was the former NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez. Roxanne Perez, new attire and everything. She got a good reaction from the crowd. She comes in combo Russian leg sweep and DDT. Number 4 was Lyra Valkyria. Then you had that's the women's Intercontinental Champion. Backed up, you get the women's United States Champion Chelsea Green. Unlike Valkyrie, Chelsea took her time to enter the ring. Green chucked everyone over the top rope, but nobody actually went out. She celebrated anyway, so everyone came in and beat her up. B-Fab at number 6 and Ivy Nile at number 7. Nile handed out German suplexes, a double German to Perez and Green. The crowd popped, but followed with "You suck" chants. Zoe Stark came in at number 9. Liv Morgan almost eliminated Green, but the crowd did not want that to happen. Lash Legend in at number 9, our second entrant from NXT. Legend ran wild until B-Fab and Legend knocked each other down with some boots. A lot of clunky action in this portion of the matchup. In the early portion of this matchup, I have to say. Green had the first elimination by tossing out B-Fab. She got a big pop. The crowd loved Chelsea Green here. Bianca Belair comes in at number 10. She hits her 10 punches in the corner, flip over and over again until she piles up like 6 ladies in the corner. Shayna Baszler in at number 11. The first ever women's Intercontinental Champion was the second woman out of the matchup. Ivy Nile eliminating her. This certainly sets up a title match, but boy oh boy has WWE's booking of Lyra Valkyria fucking sucked since she won the Intercontinental Championship. They have booked her into the ground. They're burying her actively, it feels like. Number 12 is Bayley. She had a face-off with Io Sky, a callback to last year's WrestleMania, but PFC cut them off. Sonya Deville joins her PFC stablemate. Then Maxine Dupree is in at number 14. She comes in. She's looking good for a while. She goes at it with Ivy now. Dupree got the better of her. PFC cut her off on the Caterpillar attempt. I was hoping we wouldn't get a Caterpillar, but other wrestlers attacked PFC. So, of course, Dupree hits the Caterpillar. Boo. Dupree eliminates Nile, but PFC immediately eliminate Dupree. Naomi entered at number 15. Naomi and Belair eliminate Stark, while Bayley and Sky eliminate Deville and Baszler, as all of PFC are out of here. Parker, Legend, Belair, and Naomi team up, are having a moment, a Black History Month moment, as Chelsea Green tries to join them to become friends with them. The crowd boos, and they all beat the hell out of Chelsea, and the crowd boos again. It was great. The crowd loved Chelsea here. Legend booted Parker by accident. Parker got a good response when she came out as well. She came in at number 16. Green eliminated Legend to a big pop. They loved anything that Chelsea did here. Piper Niven entered at number 17. Niven accidentally eliminates Green. The crowd boos loudly. Natalia's in at number 18. Number 19 is Jordynne Grace in her official WWE debut. Her graphic labeled her as a former TNA Knockouts World Champion. She handed out clotheslines while Roxanne Perez was on her back. Grace eliminated Parker. Grace got Niven up and easily does the Finley roll to the bigger Niven. Grace then meets center ring with Naomi and they hug. We get a TNA reunion here, but Belair took offense to that, saying you can't be friends with her. She tries to eliminate Grace, but Grace held on. Little tease of a Bianca heel turn, maybe. Michin comes in at number 20, and then we get the biggest pop of arguably of the entire show. Alexa Bliss comes out to a thunderous, sustained pop. Like the pop that you heard Roman got on his return at SummerSlam, Alexa's felt longer and louder. My Lord, 2 years to the day of her last matchup in WWE. Alexa Bliss is back. She's got Lily the doll. Michael Cole screams. The internet said she wasn't coming back. She wore black, red, and had pink highlights in her hair. She laid out Bayley with the crowd on their feet. She posed for them. They were just into everything Alexa did in this matchup. Zelina Vega is 22. She gave Grace a code red off the ropes. Candice LeRae is 23rd. Stephanie Vaquer is 24 to a pretty good pop from the crowd. Very happy to see the NXT talent. Number 25 is Trish Stratus. She gets a big pop from this crowd. She beats up Natalya and gave a double bulldog to Candice LeRae and Jordynne Grace. Niven ran Stratus over with a tackle. There are like 15 people in this matchup at this point. Raquel Rodriguez entered at number 26 to no pop. Liv Morgan and eliminated Natalya with a code breaker off the apron. Rodriguez knocked Bliss to the apron, and Liv Morgan gives her a code breaker, and Alexa Bliss is eliminated to very loud boos from the fans. Charlotte Flair coming in at number 27 to a big pop. She comes out with fireworks, sparkly red outfit, and sparkly silver knee brace. Charlotte ran wild. She eliminates Michin. Vaquer and Grace tried to give her a delayed vertical suplex, but Charlotte reverses to a double DDT. She then eliminates Piper Niven. Number 28 is Julia to a good pop, good reaction from the fans. She eliminated Jordynne Grace with a headbutt and a knee strike to knock her off of the apron. Maybe we get a Jordynne Grace and Julia matchup in NXT. The crowd lightly booed Grace being knocked out. Julia and Stephanie Vaquer face off, but they wound up teaming up with one another. A big brawl broke out as Nia Jax entered at number 29. Vega was on the apron, so Jax yanked her out for the elimination. Before Jax even entered the matchup, they were fighting in that corner for like 10 minutes. I think it was Chase in the chat that noted that they've been in that corner for like 10 minutes. Eventually, Nia is surrounded as she goes face to face with Trish Stratus. They have a brief face off, but then Candice LeRae tries to eliminate Trish. Trish eliminates her, but then Nia eliminates Trish to big boos from the crowd. The baby faces all try to no. Then we get number 30, which is none other than Nikki Bella. She gets an interesting reaction, a big star reaction, but kind of a mixture of shock and cheers, because I think most were expecting this to be Becky Lynch. Everyone chose this moment to gang up on Nia. She gets beaten up on for a bit and then knocks down everyone. This way, there was a wild spot where all these women go to the apron. They're all holding on. And then Nia Jax, like a fucking 18-wheeler on a fucking 18-car pileup, fucking runs in and eliminates all these women. Stephanie Vaquer, Io Sky, Naomi, Bianca Belair, and Raquel Rodriguez. Nia well on her way to becoming the ultimate eliminator in the Women's Royal Rumble ever. She then eliminates Liv Morgan soon after. Roxanne Perez eliminates Julia. We get Jax was trying to eliminate Bayley. Nikki went to attack, but Jax moved, and Nikki eliminated Bayley. Bayley landed very hard on the apron. Jax then eliminated Nikki Bella. Perez got the surprise elimination of the matchup as Charlotte helps her to push out Nia Jax, and Roxanne is credited with that final elimination right before she has a quick little battle with Charlotte Flair. Charlotte boots her out of the ring, and that is it. Charlotte Flair is the historic first ever two-time Women's Royal Rumble winner. The crowd cheered for Charlotte. She was clearly emotional. She is on her way to WrestleMania 41, where she will either challenge Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship or Tiffany Stratton for the WWE Women's Championship. WrestleMania 41 on April 19th and 20th. The opening kind of third of this matchup, very pedestrian. Very clunky, did not look good at certain points. The middle portion got better with Chelsea being so popular and certain surprises that they had sprinkled through. From Jordynne Grace on, this was a fun ride. This was a blast to watch from Jordynne Grace on. You had a big surprises. You had the legends and Trish and Nikki. You had Charlotte coming in at number 27. You had the fun little moments with Jordynne Grace and Naomi and Bianca, Nia Jax becoming the eliminator extraordinaire, Roxanne Perez with the Iron Woman performance, breaking Bayley's record for the longest duration in a single Women's Royal Rumble match with over an hour and 7 minutes. A hell of a showing, a hell of a win for Roxanne in defeat. Charlotte Flair getting the win. Very predictable at the end of the day. I would have liked a little bit more from this final sequence between her and Roxanne. I think that they could have done more to make you believe that Roxanne could get the victory here. And because the newcomers from NXT and Jordynne Grace were such a focus of this Rumble matchup. But Charlotte winning is fine by me. Overall, it was a fun Women's Royal Rumble match. I give it 3.5 stars. Josh, what did you think?
I think for the most part, honestly, I'm gonna be very honest. I felt like I was kind of bored in a lot of it. I don't know. It kind of reminded me of last year a little bit, where it was like you got like clunkiness, you got kind of like seems like it was out of whack in the beginning, and then it didn't pick up towards the middle. Kind of felt like it was kind of the same thing when it comes to that, when it comes to like the structure of it. I would say, yeah. Once Jordan got in, it kind of picked up. She's a fucking liar, by the way. She said she was gonna be with her mother during the weekend. I knew she was lying, but it was a fact that you use your mom for a lie. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's next level crazy right there. She was like, no, I'm throwing a birthday party for my mom. I'm seriously stop.
She got a confirmation number and everything just to not show up.
It's just like stop. It's just like stop. You don't gotta use your mama to just lie. You just could say something else. But I mean, it was good seeing her. I mean, now she's officially WWE. Hopefully they keep her on the main roster because I know you mentioned the whole thing with Julia. I think she's past NXT at this point. Just put on the main roster. Even though that would be a fun matchup, but it's just like, she signed. She already did NXT for the most part because they kept using her for TNA, like on that partnership. I think she's outgrown that, in my opinion, and I think she's more deserving of that on a bias level, if I'm being honest. But overall, I mean, I felt like it was okay. I felt like the women's Royal Rumble was like okay, nothing too over the top. Some nice surprises, like seeing Trish was great. I mean, woman pushing 50, and damn, that's all I gotta say about that. And then seeing Nikki, I think it was more funny than anything, because like you hear like a lot of cheers, like she did get a pop, but it was like mostly like the girls, and you hear like it was mostly from the girls. But I mean, I kind of knew that was happening. I just didn't think she should be number 30. And as far as the winner, I don't hate Charlotte. I've never hated Charlotte to the extent that a lot of people have. But her winning, I mean, it was obvious, and that's why I was kind of like, yeah, Charlotte winning. Once she was in there, I was like, yeah, she's definitely winning.
Especially when she comes out at number 27. It's like,
yeah, and I was like,
there's just no suspense.
Yeah, and it was just like, but then realistically, when I looked at everybody in the ring, I was like, if it's not Charlotte, who's gonna win? And I think that's kind of why I was like, Charlotte winning. But I do agree with the final sequence. It should have been longer. It should have been maybe 3-4 minutes, a little bit longer, for them to have like a nice back and forth, kind of similar. And I stand by this to what Shinsuke and Roman was back in 2019, 2018, right? 2018, where it was kind of like they really built that shit up, kind of felt like a singles match, and you kind of didn't know who was gonna win at that point. I felt like they could have done that, because I kind of felt like, even though Roxanne being in the Rumble as long as she was, and I know they made that a big point, but the way she was kind of eliminated, I was like, for somebody who broke the record, I mean, she could have had a better better thing than that. Could have thrown her a little bone. I mean, it still did, but the fact that nice showcasing would have been like kind of nice when it comes to that, because it was just like, oh, she was on the rope, and then Charlotte did this, and then boom, eliminated.
I'll be honest though, like this was like a puffed up record to do, because I'll be honest with you, there was portions of this matchup that I forgot Roxanne was still there, and I had her in our lottery. And I won the lottery for being the last eliminated, because no one had the number 27 of Charlotte. So it came down to whoever was last eliminated, and I won the lottery because of Roxanne. But I'll be honest, there was points where I didn't know she was there. She was still in there. So like I don't think it's as impressive.
Yeah,
it looks good. It looks good in the record book, but I don't think it's as impressive of the last two Iron Woman performances from Rhea Ripley 2 years ago to Bailey last year. But both of them were more involved in those Rumble matches than Roxanne Perez was. And no, I'm not just talking about them winning the Royal Rumble. Just go back to Bianca in 2021. She was more involved in that Rumble than Roxanne was in this one. Roxanne, they had a lot of portions of this matchup where they had like 12 or more ladies in the ring, and a lot of times a lot of ladies were just on the apron taking a nap.
Yeah, but then you also know that it's also WWE perception. They'll push a certain thing. I don't want to say narrative, but they kind of push a certain thing, so they want you to focus on that. And because she was in the Rumble that long, they're pushing that, right? They want you to remember, oh, she was in a Rumble. She was she set the record. But then when you kind of look at it, it's kind of like, was it really that impressive? You know what I mean? And that's where it comes down to sometimes. I think those little things do matter. Wow, she set a record, but then it's like, what did she do that mattered? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But that's always like WWE perception. That's fan perception. They'll focus on that. They won't really kind of critique it. They'll just, I got what I wanted. Hey, she's gonna be a star. That's just what they focus on. And I mean, benefits her. But if we're just being honest, like, yeah, I mean, you are right. I was like, there's times where I was like, oh shit, she's still in it. And then like towards like the end, that's when I was like, oh, she never got eliminated. Because I kind of felt the same way.
Good, yeah, but good. It was pretty good stuff. Most of all, I mean, but we got to talk about the Alexa Bliss pop. I did not expect them to react to Bliss like that. Like that was like, oh my god! Like the length in which that pop lasted. That's what was most impressive to me.
Yeah, I mean, I knew she would get like a reaction. I didn't know that I was gonna be like that loud. At the same time, I gotta keep reminding myself, like Bliss, you know, at a time in WWE, she was pretty important, right? And people shouldn't forget that because, I mean, again, you want to go into the logistics of it. Like, yeah, you know, WWE wasn't as good when she was like women's champion, but she did her thing. She learned a lot. You know, in a while she was carrying the women's division. She was a big merch mover, and it's probably going to happen again. And they start doing new merch because she's very popular with young girls.
And she got the Lily doll back.
She got the Lily doll back, and you know, a lot of male fans who are perverts. So benefits her a lot. So I mean, hey, you know, I always thought she was like decent, like not the greatest in the ring, but she's somebody who's a fast learner. Like she's a fast learner. You could kind of see it within her work. Because remember, her very last match was the Elimination Chamber, and she actually looked very good in that match. So when she got taken off TV again, it was kind of like, what the fuck? Like she kind of had a nice show. What happened? And then you find out little things happened, and she was gone for 2 years. So it's good seeing her. I mean, you know, people were trying to shut on the dirt sheets because, oh, you know, what happened? I thought you said she was in a contract dispute. And to clear things up, she was, no matter what. She
exactly like it. That's not her showing up does not negate the fact that there was a contract dispute.
Yeah, and then also to make it clear, you know, the observer, this place where Dave runs, they did mention it, but they also did say to defend them. They did say that the issue was pretty minor. It wasn't as big as people were making it out to be. And it was kind of one of those things where it was going to get settled pretty quick. And that kind of did show, hey, she showed up at the Rumble. So they're kind of right on that. So just to make that clear.
Yeah. We got a couple of different comments I wanted to highlight here. I think we're all under the perception I'm seeing in the chat, as well as I think with us, we're all thinking it's Charlotte and Tiffany at WrestleMania, right?
It should be Cher and what's her name? Sabrina versus Sabrina Carpenter. That'd be great.
You said Cher?
Yeah, Charlotte
to be Cher now. She's not even blonde. It's better if y'all said Madonna versus
but Flair was blonde at one time. She was blonde. And there's a
she's mostly known for having dark
hair.
But
there is a picture where that looks like Charlotte. It was kind of crazy. I was like,
we got a couple of more I wanted to chat here. Seth with a good point. Yeah, it was deafening, that Alexa Bliss pop. I couldn't hear her music. I think she had new music. I don't know for sure. And I think Charlotte
had new music and it kind of sucked.
Well, no, I think that was the same one she was using in 2023.
Oh, I mean, was it? Because I mean, I thought it sucked either way.
It was. Alexa had new music though, for sure. Davion says, who will be Alexa's first feud now that she has returned? I think it's going to be Liv Morgan. I think that's what they were basically told us with her elimination there. Which I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind if it leads to Judgment Day versus Wyatt 6 rivalry.
Yeah, then also I think with Bliss, I think they're probably going to have to like be careful because remember the last few years, Bliss, you know, she's been like in and out. Something happens, and then she's taken out, then she comes back, then taken out. So I think they're kind of going to be careful. I think they're going to approach it in a way where it's like, if she's good, we're going to use her to the best we can. I think that's the route they should go. But if they feel confident enough that, hey, she's ready and she could go, then that's going to be their call regardless. So we'll see how that goes.
Man, Belle, what you talking about? She's like, you know who Sabrina Carpenter is? I'm sure. Well, I knew about Sabrina Carpenter before you knew about Sabrina Carpenter. I am an OG Boy Meets World fan, and I also then watched Girl Meets World, and that's when Maya was basically the female Shawn, and and Maya was played by Sabrina Carpenter. So then when she became a singer, I was just like, oh, I'm gonna support her. And then I see that over the weekend she got a video of her wearing a Young Buck shirt doing a cover of an Ariana Grande song. Oh, I'm definitely a Sabrina Carpenter fan. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here?
She probably is talking about because she probably thought you were like 50 years old or something.
All right, that's fine. I am old, but Annika, you are right. She said, side note, hated what they did with Shawn and Angela in the reboot. They had one thing to do, which was just retcon and make sure that Shawn and Angela got back together during the time jump. And they didn't do it. They had Angela find a whole new husband, get married again, just for Shawn to get with Sabrina Carpenter's mom. Damn, man. Can't believe they did that shit. We got next up, 2 out of 3 falls matchup for the WWE Tag Team Championships. It is DIY defending against the Motor City Machine Guns. This one here, you get early on, you get Tommaso Ciampa, Alex Shelley. We get some rapid fire offense. The first fall comes when Tommaso Ciampa basically fake tags Johnny Gargano, the fake tag out that the Bar did way back when a few years ago against the New Day. That causes Alex Shelley to get confused. He thinks that Johnny Gargano is the legal participant. He hits him with a super kick. He looks for the sliced bread number 2, but Ciampa hits him with a knee strike. Johnny Gargano takes out Chris Sabin on the apron, and the DIY get the first fall. We get Johnny Gargano. He tried a slingshot spear later on, but Shelley was able to super kick him instead. Chris Sabin tagged in. They wiped out DIY with some dives on the outside. Sabin and Shelley hit Gargano then with the big boot and the Intigiri kick to the head for the double combo, and then finish him off with Skull and Bones for the 1-2-3. We are not tied at 1-1. DIY hit Sabin with the combo super kick and fairy tale ending, but Shelley broke up the cover. Ciampa hits Sabin with the Project Ciampa, and he only gets a near fall with Ciampa hanging upside down in the corner. Shelley suplexes Gargano into him, and then Sabin follows up with the hesitation drop kick. They hit a combo powerbomb blockbuster, but Gargano broke up the cover. Gargano hit Ciampa by accident with a super kick, which led to the Guns hitting a flurry of double team offense on Gargano. They take out Ciampa. They went for the Skull and Bones one more time to get the second fall, but then Montez Ford in a black hoodie jumps up on the apron. He distracts the referee while Angelo Dawkins hits Sabin in the back with a crutch. This leads to Shelley taking the meat in the middle of the ring. 1-2-3. DIY retain the WWE Tag Team Championships. Post-match, you get the Street Profits. They attack DIY with the crutch. They laid them out, showing that they are not heels here, but they wanted DIY to keep the titles so they can beat them for it. Nice little surprise return for the Street Profits at the end. It did, though, make it feel like we were watching more of a TV match than a pay-per-view match at the end. With the finish to this was more like a TV match than a pay-per-view match. But the work until that was a pay-per-view match. I feel like the finish only slightly hurts this one. I probably would have gave it like 4 stars, but I think with the finish, I'll give it 3 3/4. I thought these two teams went out there and had a hell of a matchup that the crowd actually got into towards the final 5 minutes of the match as well, which of course it was going to take some time after the very long Women's Royal Rumble match. What did you think, Josh?
I might be on the outside on this one. I didn't like the match very much. I was kind of bored, and it's frustrating because I wanted to like the match, and I was sitting here with Wendy watching it, and I'm just like I'm there watching it, right, and I'm like talking to her, and I'm like I know I can't. I know. I was like, am I wrong? I was like, how do you feel about the match? I asked her, right? I was like, how do you feel about the match yourself? Because I wanted to make sure I'm like, all right, hopefully it's just not me. And she kind of felt the same way, and she loves Motor City Machine Gun. She loves them probably more than I do. And she was just like, I don't know. It feels like there's something missing in the match. Right. So then I was like, oh, all right. I kind of probably feel the same way. But I think probably I could be, I'm probably maybe a victim of my own standards. That's probably what it is. It could be that. Because I honestly, when I heard this match was announced, 2 out of 3 falls, the way I pictured it was I don't want to say that it was gonna be like, when DIY faced FTR in that 2 out of 3 falls match, because I don't think that's kind of fair to compare that or try to set that to that level. It's not fair because that's like an all-time great tag match, especially 2 3 out of 4.
I think that the problem with most people when they watch a DIY or Motor City Machine Guns match in 2025 is that they think they're going to get 2016 DIY and 2007 Motor City Machine Guns.
That's probably
and you're not.
honestly,
You're just not.
Yeah, and then honestly, that's probably where I'm at myself, and I can admit that. I could 100% admit that. Like,
and that's why I like doing these shows with you, because you're very honest. Even if you don't like something, you can recognize that it's probably a you thing more than it's not being a good matchup.
Yeah,
I do respect that about you.
Yeah, and I think that they do some good things in the match, right? I want to take away from them. Also, I think the biggest thing for me was kind of the crowd reaction, because I felt like maybe like besides like the last match, because 2 out of 3 falls, the match, I don't know, the crowd seemed kind of confused. Like, I don't know, that crowd kind of sucked for the most of the part. That
like they were very quiet in the early going, and I know they had to get into the matchup because they just saw a fucking hour and 10-minute matchup, and they gave us like maybe like 10-15 minutes in between the two matches, but you probably needed like a half hour after a fucking an hour and 15-minute match.
And it just seemed like the crowd just seemed kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's just Indianapolis. Maybe that's just a dump.
They really didn't get into the matchup until the third fall.
Yeah, and I think I kind of felt that way. And then the finish itself, I was just kind of like, I was like I get the whole.
That's why I said I think if we got the finish, even you would have been like, if the finish would have been this a clean finish, give one, you would have at least said it was good. But like the finish, I can understand the finish really like, all right, I was kind of here or there with the matchup, and then you gave me that finish. Nah, I don't like this.
Yeah, and I think that plays a big part in it too. I guess, for me, I kind of felt like in my head, I was like, hey, this is going to be a show stealer. This is going to be like the black and gold NXT kind of thing that could steal the show and get people on their feet. And I just didn't get that. I got like a good matchup for veteran guys who, they're not young anymore. And this is true. They're not young anymore. And I don't know. I just thought like that ending, the whole Street Profits thing, there was people, they said that they loved it. I was just like, I didn't love it. I get turning them heel, but I was just like, was that the time to do it? You could have done it on SmackDown, like if that was the case.
Yeah. And I agree with this from Belle. She says, I like the match, but I felt like it never went into gear. It never went into the third gear. No, it didn't. Like whereas the next 2 matches, we did get into a third gear, and that's what makes the next 2 matches. This next 2 matches carry this whole show. Like the difference between the first 2 and the last 2 is that the last 2 got into a third gear.
Yeah, I agree with that. This one kind of felt like it stood at 2 The gear just stood at 2, and that's what we got. And instead of like them going to a third gear that finish doesn't happen, there would have been a better match for me. But I could see where people may like it. I could see where people don't like it. But I mean, overall, you know, I really thought this was going to be like the show stealer, and just didn't get that.
Yeah, I knew it would be up to the time. I said if this match got 20 minutes, it could be a show stealer. If it gets 15, it could still be great. If it gets below 15, it'll be good. And that's what we got. We got below 15 minutes.
And it's like kind of crazy. Three falls, like less than 15 minutes. That's kind of crazy.
5 minutes per fall, basically. And next up, we got the aforementioned ladder match for the undisputed WWE Championship. The American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, defends against Kevin Owens. This matchup, I think that the layout, the action, might be one of the best WWE ladder matches in quite some time. Early in the matchup, you get Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes fighting to the outside. They fight to the entranceway right by the ladder. You get Owens. He slams Cody on the basically the metal hinges of the ladder. Cody fought him back. They fought into the crowd. They fought through the crowd. You get a drink thrown in Owens' face. Owens slammed Cody on a ladder, and then he set up a ladder bridge to be used later. Owens used a mini ladder and used it as a weapon. He even taunted Cody by acting like he was going to jump off of the mini ladder. Rhodes fought back and he used the ladder against him. Rhodes then tried to climb a regular ladder, but Owens yanked him off and hit a big pop-up power bomb. Later on, we get Rhodes. He suplexed Owens into a ladder. Rhodes then yanked a rung of the ladder and basically uses it as a weapon on Cody. On KO. KO fights back though. He responds. He gets the dusty jabs, and instead of hitting an elbow, he uses the ladder rung and blasts Cody in the face with it. Owens then took a brutal bump. And you knew when the ladder was upside down, was sideways up, you knew KO was taking that bump. He tries to go for a package power driver, and Cody reverses it, backdrops him right on the edge of the fucking ladder. My reaction was just, ugh. Owens got his receipt, though, as he stops Cody from climbing the ladder, power bombs him into a ladder that was draped over the bottom rope. Owens then sets up a low ladder bridge in the ring and put Cody through it. He tries to go for a splash at first, but then Cody fights back. Cody tries to go for a superplex, and I'm yelling on our watch along and at my TV screen, don't go for a superplex on Kevin Owens. No one ever hits a superplex on Kevin Owens. When will these motherfuckers learn? Cody didn't, and he receives a fisherman buster off of the ropes onto the ladder bridge, bouncing right up. Both men are selling it big. We get officials and the referee checking on both men. Sami Zayn comes down to ringside to check on Kevin Owens. Owens then sets up Cody for a stunner, but Cody reverses it and he hits a crossroad. KO rolls out of the ring, so Cody goes ballistic. Instead of climbing the ladder, Cody starts ramming Owens' head into the reinforced announce table, busting Kevin Owens open. Rhodes distracted the camera person while Owens was down, although Owens did have a cut above his eye later. Cody set up something on the announce table, but KO gave him a low blow. He then went for a package power bomb or a package power driver on the previously set up ladder bridge, but Cody reverses. He picks KO up. He gives him a thunderous Alabama slam with KO landing neck and back first into the ladder bridge that cuts in half. KO sells this. It looks like his head fucking come off with the Alabama slam as the ladder bridge cuts in half, and you don't even see his head because it's stuck in between the rungs of the ladder. Zayn checks on KO while Cody climbs the ladder, retrieves the titles to win the undisputed WWE Championship. He retains, he wins the ladder match here in an absolute barn burner. This might be Cody's best match since AJ Styles in France. This was an absolutely phenomenal ladder match that was brutal, that was freaking cringeworthy at his point with some of the bumps we were taking. These were some of the most bone-wrecking, bone-crushing, unbelievable bumps that you will see in a ladder match. And Kevin Owens, honestly, because, you know, guys like me and Josh, we've watched a lot of Kevin Owens' career. Kevin Owens might be probably the most underrated ladder match performer of all time. Like, between the stuff he did in Ring of Honor with the ladder wars with the Briscoes and the ladder war with El Generico at Final Battle 2012, to what he did with like El Generico in PWG, to his ladder match and his exploits in Money in the Bank over the years, to this match here. KO, man, we got to really think about where he ranks. Like, you know, there's like the Shawn Michaels of the world that are known for being ladder match experts and stuff like that. Shelton Benjamin is another guy that's kind of viewed as that for what he did in Money in the Bank. But Kevin Owens, no one puts together a brutal, visceral, violent ladder match quite like Kevin Owens. This was absolutely tremendous. I give it 4.5 stars. What did you think, Josh?
The ladder match was good. At first, I thought it kind of started off like kind of like a basic ladder match, you know, like using the ladders and taking the bumps. But then it kind of did pick up after a while. It did really pick up, and they started doing like some crazy spots, which looked like it fucking hurt.
They beat the shit out of each other for 25 minutes.
Yeah, and you know, like it really picked up, which was great to see. And then, you know, there was a few times where he teased the package pile driver too. Obviously, he didn't land it, but he was teasing it a few times. But then that fucking slam, oh my god, that was the funniest spot. I mean, that was the best and funniest spot because I was like, what the fuck? You have Sami Zayn, like. What's he doing? Like, bro, like you gotta pick a struggle at some point. Like, what are you trying to do? And then, you know, Cody gets the titles. At first, kind of like he was confused what to do. I guess he wasn't comfortable. He didn't seem like he was comfortable of what he was trying to do to remove the belts. So then he just took both of them off. Like, I mean, it was pretty funny to see that because I was like, why is he going too high? Why is he stepping on the last ladder? It just kind of reminds me at work when I use the ladder at work. And that's why I was like, what is he doing? But overall, fun matchup. Hopefully this was the last match of the feud. I mean, Cody's won three fucking times. I don't need to see another match. And hopefully they retired that Wing Angle WWE shop belt for good. I don't need
this completed Cody's first great program of his title reign.
Yeah, you know, I would say so. Because we kind of been getting like the bloodline stuff, and he's been staying away from that. I don't know, with WWE feuds, I think sometimes the problem I have is like when they do these kind of feuds, right? Where it's like you want people to have some kind of like, you know, unpredictability or whatever the case may be. When you do a feud, right, it's supposed to mean something, right? It's supposed to be like a big rivalry, meaning like it should be pretty even. But then when you have your champion win 3 fucking times already, and it's like, what's the point of the third match? You know, it's kind of like, you know, it's like I don't mean to compare it, but like the UFC, right? When UFC, there's a big fight between 2 guys, right? And the guy ends up winning twice in the 2 matches already. They don't do a third match because Dana White has said there's no point of a third match. The person won 2 fights already. But we kind of get that a lot with WWE. We got that with Seth Rollins in his reign, right? As much as he's a workhorse, he had Finn Balor 3 times beat him. Shinsuke Nakamura, he had 3 matches with beat him. So it was like, I don't know that, and that's a structure with not only Triple H, but Vince had the same structure too. It was the same thing. It's just the WWE kind of thing that they do that kind of turns me off when it comes to like these kind of feuds, because Kevin Owens was entertaining in the feud. Like once he turned heel, started doing his own thing, he was entertaining. But then also it got to a point that regardless of how much praise we were giving KO, he was basically the best part of the feud.
Yes.
Like I'm just calling it like it is. He was the best part of the feud because he was being funny, he was being goofy, he was being himself basically. And that was basically the best part. But then when there's like no outcome, there was people pretty pissed about it that I saw too, that KO didn't win. But it's just like, guys, if you know WWE, you know
like,
KO
what did you
ain't
expect?
winning.
What the
KO
fuck
ain't
did you
winning.
expect?
Yeah, it's like
And
KO
yes,
ain't winning.
the T-shirt was absolutely tremendous as well. He says, Annika says, I need them to sell KO's shirt, please. The Canadian dream, son of a security system technician. That's great. That was great. That was a great shirt. Great shirt,
Canadians, because I ain't buying no damn Canadian shirt. That's all I'm saying.
Davion Axon, what do you think about the Cody Rhodes news after the match? It was reported that Cody suffered multiple injuries and was not medically cleared to compete. They will have an update on his condition on Friday Night SmackDown. I think that it's an angle. It's a work.
Cody was fine. Come on, guys. He tore his pec and he wrestled. He's fine.
We also got great Seth, who says KO saved Cody Rhodes' title reign. I will tell you, I've been saying it for months. I think Cody's reign was quite boring before Kevin Owens turned heel. It was just a series of matches. It was just a challenger of the month, and then right back to the bloodline. Yeah. And then Kevin Owens showed up, and it became interesting.
I mean, I wouldn't say he saved it because honestly, he's still gonna fall in the same problems even after the feud. Like whoever he faces next, it's probably gonna be the same problems that we kind of seen with his reign. So like, I don't know. I can't really say he saved it. I mean, this was a good feud, but I mean, you already teased John Cena. That's gonna be the next thing. But then it's like, okay, like, what's next from that? Like, you know what I mean?
Well, there have been people making the point that Greg's making here. Cody's celebrating with both titles while Owens leads profusely, and underdog babyface Sami Zayn is checking on KO. Yes, it can be considered a heel move, and especially how violent Cody got and making the choice to not climb the ladder and instead make KO bleed. Yeah, there is kind of, you can say, some heel tendencies that's been shown towards the latter half of this feud by Cody. So do you think that WWE will lean in that direction if he is facing John Cena? We did get John Cena after the Royal Rumble basically declare himself for the Elimination Chamber, saying that he earned this for 20 years of service, and that him being in the main event of WrestleMania is what's best for business. So it kind of feels like both Cody and Cena are kind of adding some heel layers to their character.
I think honestly, maybe that's what you kind of need for this. Because honestly, after last night, it kind of like, I thought John Cena did a good job not only leaning into that, but then I was like, this is kind of what we were talking about on the podcast, where it was like, all right, we're going to get Cody versus John Cena. Most likely Cody's probably still going to win. But then it's like, how do you get there? Not only how do you get there, but then how can you make it interesting? How can you make the build-up interesting? And I think if both guys lean into that, it can make things interesting. Because the fact that John Cena just like basically put his dick on the table last night after he lost makes it interesting. It makes it kind of like, oh shit, like John Cena is definitely gonna face Cody. But I like the way they did that. Sometimes you need that hook, right? And with Cody, we kind of been seeing it because he kind of been annoying, but then also, Kevin Owens has been annoying him. So, I mean, it's an interesting angle for both guys, right? So, I mean, it makes it interesting for both ends for the match, because if that's the match you're going with, obviously, you need something, man. You just can't have John Cena do something, and because John Cena been losing a lot too. So it's like, You need something. And the fact that he just did that and Triple H basically announced that he's going to be in the Elimination Chamber, you kind of know where that direction is going. And, you know, it's something that I don't mind too much because if it gets there, it gets there. But makes it interesting.
If we can get just a hint of 2018 Cody, because there's people who didn't experience 2018 Cody, like peak Cody. Like that is, I'm sorry, I don't care how hot he is as a babyface right now. There ain't no better Cody than 2018 Cody. 2018 Cody as a heel in Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, that was peak Cody for me. That was when I was the most invested in Cody that I've ever been, where I hated him with a passion.
Oh man, he was great. And he was great. Like, man, I think I went to Manhattan Mayhem. I remember like he took a bottle of water and he spit it at that fan.
No, that wasn't Manhattan. Was that Manhattan Mayhem or was that Supercard?
Manhattan Mayhem. No, it was Manhattan Mayhem because
that's the same show he flipped me off. The fucking jackass.
It was mad funny. Oh no, but that was like the year. That was like a year before. This one was a year after because he was facing Flip. He was facing Flip Gordon because they were doing the angle on BTE where like, hey, Flip wanted to get booked for All In, so they basically had to make him like Cody was like fucking around with him, and basically Cody was like, if you beat me, you're gonna be in the show or like whatever you're doing or join Bullet Club, and then he lost. He ended up losing that match, but that same night, because I was actually not far from the dude, I was like on one end, like second row. The other dude was like on that other end, like, and then all of a sudden, all I saw was Cody gets a bottle. All I saw a fucking splash of water, whoosh, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Did he just spit that at a fan?" And you see the fan like this,
yep,
like covered in water. And I was like, "Yo,
jackass!"
And then Supercard of Honor, he spit beer. I think at Queen of the Ring, I think he spit beer at her.
Yes, that's what I remember the most.
He drank the beer and he spit it.
Bell says, I don't know why, but I have a feeling that KO will blame Sammy and that's their match at Mania. That would be not like Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, he is a heel, but he makes sense and he's very logical. I think that it's more interesting for underdog babyface Sami Zayn to still be friends with narcissistic blamer of everyone Kevin Owens. I think that's a more interesting direction than them just having another match. They literally just had a match together 4 years ago at WrestleMania. They literally teamed up together 2 years ago. Like, why do people still want them to go against each other that soon after? Like, I do want them to have another Mania match and maybe higher up on the card and maybe for the world title. That year is not this year. The obvious answer to who faces Kevin Owens at WrestleMania, you literally say it in the next comment there, Bell. Randy Orton. It's Randy Orton. Sammy has a whole different story going on with him, with his friends getting in the way of his goals. And that played out in the Royal Rumble match, which we're going to get into here. But
and honestly, it kind of makes me feel like it's going to be Sammy versus Seth.
I called that a few weeks ago. I was like, Sammy and Seth is the one they've been obviously showing us and telling that story over the last, like, pretty much since before Survivor Series. Like, we might turn around if that's a match at WrestleMania. That might be one of the longest builds to WrestleMania because that started before even Punk and Roman.
Yeah, I think that's the direction they go, especially after last night's winner. So, yeah.
I can see that. I can also see how everything went down with Seth, that he has a bigger match now, but we'll see. We'll talk about that now. Good comparison here. Greg Carter saying Owens and Sammy have that Sting Luger friendship. Great comparison. Great comparison. That was the original babyface being friends with the heel relationship in wrestling. But you get Tyrese Halliburton, OJ Jackson Jr., and Kai Sanai were all shown in the crowd having fun at the Royal Rumble. We also saw Rob Van Dam, Kurt Angle were in attendance for the show. A couple of WWE Hall of Famers, The Godfather. Mickie James was also there. I was like, God damn, we couldn't find her some boots to be in the Rumble? But This all led to the men's Royal Rumble match. I think the longest men's Royal Rumble match in history, an hour and 20 minutes. The opening of the matchup, we would get the good brother, the winner of the 2006 Royal Rumble matchup, Rey Mysterio, coming in at number 1. He was then joined by Penta. I got my wish. I called it on the watch party. I was like, when Rey comes out, I was like, okay, Penta has to be the one. Everybody else was like Dominic Mysterio. I was like, no, Penta. The crowd got their face off between Penta and Rey. Rey offers a handshake, and Penta shakes his hand, pulls him in close, and does his catchphrase, Zero Mero. Rey bought the fight to Penta and may have eliminated him early. He did eliminate him early. I went back and watched it. Penta's feet touched the floor. Oh my God. I was like, God damn, Penta. And I looked at his reaction after that spot. He probably was having a heart attack. He knows both his feet touched the floor, but they didn't show a replay, so he was safe. But this opening sequence between Rey and Penta could have been better. It could have been better. It was very clunky, very sloppy at times. We then would get Chad Gable, but this is where I liked the early portion of the matchup, because even though it was a lot of mid-card players, everyone had a connection to one another. You got Penta and Rey taking us back to Boyle Heights and Lucha Underground. Then you got Chad Gable, who has this whole agenda against luchadors and lost to Penta in his debut matchup and lost to Rey Mysterio prior to that. You get him. He worked over both men until Rey dove off Penta's shoulders to dive on Gable. Rey slipped off Penta's shoulders and landed awkwardly, landing on Gable's knees. Another botch by Rey. Carmelo Hayes entered at number 4. He worked together with Gable to beat down the luchadors. Hayes tried to eliminate Gable, so Gable gave him some German suplexes. Santos Escobar entered at 5. He dropped Rey onto the middle rope and hit a 619, to which Cole said, "That's Rey's move." Penta confronted Escobar for his disrespect, but Escobar gave him a Canadian destroyer. Rey gave Escobar a 619, but was unable to eliminate him. Out came Otis at number 6. He easily chokeslammed Escobar. He went for the caterpillar, but Gable caught him with an ankle lock. Otis slipped out, so Gable slapped him. Otis slaps him back and pops him for real. Oh my God. When they showed the replay, I was like, poor Gable. Gable gave Otis a German suplex, but Otis popped right back up and applied a torture rack. We get Braun Breaker coming in at number 7. He sprints down the long aisle. He killed Carmelo with a big spear and eliminates him. Gable wanted a Frankensteiner, and he gave Gable a Frankensteiner and then a suplex to Otis. He spears and eliminates Escobar next. Number 8 is Akira Tozawa, but this is our comedy spot of the matchup. He comes out and he's attacked from behind by Carmelo Hayes as he's leaving. We get a full one-cut scene where the camera follows to Akira Tozawa being helped up by officials and helped to the back. Triple H is told that he cannot continue. Triple H sees I Show Speed just happen to be nearby streaming, and Triple H goes over to I Show Speed and tells him to take Tozawa's spot. You're in the Royal Rumble. Speed acted like he didn't want to enter, but he eventually gets into it. He sprints down to the ring. He helps Braun Breaker eliminate Otis. So I Show Speed has an official elimination in the Royal Rumble and an official murder. My God, this spear is one of the highlights of this whole entire match. It's a fucking GIF. Watch the GIF where he does a fucking bat flip, and all you see is Braun Breaker running back and forth, like catching speed. He's like, oh my God. It's like when you turn on turbo, you have to get going to have turbo. That's what Braun was. He took this he spared the soul out of I Show Speed's body, absolutely killing him to death with a spear. He then press slams him out of the ring. Speed landed hard onto the mat with the spear. If that wasn't enough, he gets thrown onto Otis, and Otis gives him a fall away slam onto the announce table. They killed that poor kid. Poor kid. Sheamus is number 6. Sheamus lays out everyone. He's almost eliminated by Penta, but then Sheamus hits a slingshot tackle. We then get Jimmy Uso at number 10. Jimmy shined until Sheamus cut him off. Andrade enters at number 11. He shined for a bit until Penta gave him a superplex. Then we get Jacob Fatu coming in at number 12. Fatu picks up both Rey and Penta on his shoulders simultaneously and hits a double Samoan drop. We get big reaction from the fans. They are totally invested into Jacob Fatu right now. Fatu gets quick eliminations in succession of Chad Gable, Rey Mysterio, and Andrade. Braun went face-to-face with Fatu, but their confrontation was interrupted by number 13, Ludwig Kaiser. He did a funny little run to the ring, then stopped short of entering because he knows better. His strategy didn't work too long, though. As soon as he enters, he tries to eliminate Penta. Penta reverses and eliminates Kaiser. The Miz is in at number 14. He kept teasing eliminations of Braun, but he remained in. Miz shined for a moment until Jacob Fatu flattened him with a Samoan drop. Big chance for Fatu. Then we get number 15. Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. He's here at number 15 to a very big reaction from these fans. The TNA World Championship around his waist. Hendry gets the better of the Miz. He gives them a standing ovation. Fatu knocked him down with a tackle, though. Then I was enjoying this mid-card ride, capped off by Joe Hendry coming in at number 15. And then the Royal Rumble said, no, we got a third gear. It's time for the main event level. Roman Reigns at number 16. He comes in, he spears Miz, eliminates him. He spears Sheamus, eliminates him. Hendry kicks Reigns low, but Reigns destroys the TNA World Champion with a spear and immediately eliminates him. We get a face-off between Braun Breaker and Roman Reigns. The crowd reacts big. Braun spears the shit out of Roman. It looks like the crowd is behind Braun. We get the barking from the crowd. Braun went to eliminate Roman, but Roman counters and eliminates Braun instead. Braun looked back at Roman before leaving. Jimmy helped Reigns to his feet, but then Jacob Fatu takes out Jimmy and eliminates him. Then we get a face-off of Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns. The crowd is buzzing at this point. They go back and forth until Roman hits a spear on Jacob. All of that before we even get into number 17, Bloodline hater Drew McIntyre. Drew and Roman trade shots. Fatu jumps in. He attacks Roman from behind. They double team Roman for a bit until Penta tries to get involved. Fatu deals with him. Finn Balor comes in at number 18. God damn, that new Judgment Day music fucking sucks. Oh my God, throw it in the bin. Don't have Finn come back here if that's his music. Ugh, disgusting. Shinsuke Nakamura is in at number 19, and no he did not get a pop.
None.
Penta leaps off of Balor's back and gave Fatu a Canadian destroyer. However, Balor was able to counter Penta and eliminate him, so it seems like Penta's got the Judgment Day in his crosshair. Penta was in this matchup for 42 minutes. I believe he was the Iron Man of the matchup, the longest duration of anyone. Jey Uso.
So technically a minute.
Jey Uso in at number 20. He eliminates the United States champion Shinsuke Nakamura. AJ Styles returns at number 21. He beats up a few guys. The crowd was very into him. Styles gave Fatu a Pele kick, but Fatu launches him in the air with a back body drop. Braun Strowman in at 22. He immediately comes in and continues his rivalry with Fatu. He eliminates Jacob. Jacob goes crazy with a Bret Hart level tantrum on the announce table and chucking chairs around ringside. Number 23, the Jordan number is Jordan himself. John Cena, the GOAT. Cena eliminates Braun Strowman. He was almost eliminated by Balor, but he eliminated Balor with an AA on top of Strowman. Strowman was supposed to catch Balor, but mistimed it, and Balor landed straight against the mat, and Braun was very upset with himself. Cena then faces off with Roman Reigns. Before anything can happen, CM Punk is in at number 24, the Jordan number. Punk's wearing pink. Punk, Reigns, and Cena stood tall against one another with a big stare down. The crowd is buzzing. We get holy shit chants. The ref checked on AJ Styles in the corner. They did literally nothing until number 25 comes out, and it's Seth freaking Rollins. And immediately Seth comes in. He goes right after CM Punk while Reigns and Cena fight at it. Styles was back on his feet. He went after Jey Uso. Dominic Mysterio in at number 26. He gives Cena a frog splash. He went for a vertical suplex on Reigns, but Reigns gave him a Samoan drop. We got Sami Zayn at number 27. He immediately hits McIntyre and Rollins with haluva kicks as the crowd sang his song. Zayn then went after Punk next. Damian Priest in at number 28. He gave Dom a choke slam and chucked him out of the ring real quick. We get LA Knight entering at number 29. He exchanges some blows with Jay. We got Yeet and Yay back and forth. We then get Drew McIntyre. He places Sami Zayn on the apron. Jay accidentally eliminates Sami with an errant super kick. Then it's Logan Paul coming in at number 30. Paul hits Styles and Rollins with a double buckshot lariat. Priest then eliminates Drew McIntyre for the aforementioned meltdown by Drew backstage. Knight shoved Paul off of the apron, but Paul lands on the announce table with a big leap. Knight then eliminates Priest, I guess, to kickstart a rivalry there. Styles eliminates Knight. Then we get Paul, who leaps up from the barricade to the steps. He yanks AJ Styles on a phenomenal forearm attempt and eliminates him. We're down to 6. Punk gave Paul a GTS. Rollins super kicked Punk. Rollins gave Jay a pedigree. Reigns gave a Superman punch to Cena. Rollins gives a stomp to Cena and Punk. And then we get a big stare down because it's Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Great camera work by WWE with catching Reigns in the corner, getting up as Rollins realized that it's just him and Roman that remain standing. They have a big face-off. They exchange some big blows. You get Rollins hitting consecutive super kicks. Reigns almost eliminates Rollins when CM Punk comes from behind and eliminates both men. Punk admires his work. He's very happy with himself, eliminating both Seth and Roman when Logan Paul eliminates Punk. The top 3 of the top 4 favorites to win the Royal Rumble all eliminated within 20 seconds of one another. You get on the outside, Punk, Seth, and Reigns are all staring at each other. Rollins is absolutely pissed. He goes and stomps Reigns. Punk and Rollins get into an intense brawl. Officials come down to separate both men. Rollins then flips off Paul Heyman as Roman Reigns is struggling to get to his feet, and he delivers a thunderous second stomp to Roman against the steel steps. Punk steps over Roman as he's pulled away by officials from Rollins. He says to Heyman, "Don't forget about that favor, Paul." And Paul is just distraught after what happened to his tribal chief. The final 3 are Cena, Paul, and Jey Uso. Paul and Jey, they exchange strikes. Cena got them both on his shoulders before he could do a double AA. Jey slips out. He super kicks Cena and Paul. Cena manages to eliminate Logan Paul, and we're down to 2. Cena and Jey Uso. They soaked in the crowd for a while before going at it. Cena got the better of him. He goes for his comeback sequence, hits the 5-knuckle shuffle. He sets up for the AA, but Jey slips out and hits a super kick. Cena avoids elimination, but Jey hits another super kick. Cena avoided elimination again, but Jey hits a spear. After more elimination attempts, they both wound up on the apron. They exchanged strikes. Cena sets up for an AA, but Jey somehow slips off of his shoulders. He shoves Cena off of the apron, and John Cena loses. Jey Uso pulls off the most improbable and shocking Royal Rumble victory in the history of the matchup. 38 Royal Rumbles, and there might not be a more shocking, more surprising, and more emotional Royal Rumble win than what we saw last night. Jey Uso wins the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble match. He is on his way to WrestleMania 41. That right there was one of the best laid out and booked Royal Rumble men's matches of all time. I think going into the event, it was quite clear what the more priority of the company was in building this matchup. I think that it had one of the best builds to a men's Royal Rumble match, and I think the execution was nearly flawless. The opening half with the mid-carders, with the women's Royal Rumble, when it was nothing but the mid-carders, it was kind of dull. It was kind of boring. It was kind of clunky. With these mid-carders, we got some clunky stuff with Ray and Penta and Chad Gable early on, but everything was well connected. Gable was connected to Penta and Ray. Santos Escobar, someone who didn't get much of a pop, he has a connection to both Penta and Ray. Then you get Carmelo Hayes, who can be active, who can get involved with those guys. Then you get Braun Breaker coming out, and he just starts destroying people. Then you get the Jacob Fatu section of everything. Then you get the surprise of Joe Hendry. Then you get Roman Reigns showing up. Then you get Drew McIntyre showing up. Then you got Jey Uso. You got CM Punk. You got AJ Styles. You got John Cena. You got Seth Rollins. And then the final sequence of the Punk, Roman, and Seth elimination, and then the post-match with everything that went down on the outside, seemingly setting up maybe a three-way at WrestleMania, non-title. I don't know, but that seems like a huge matchup for you to do non-title. All of that to lead to the final three, and then the final two with Cena and Jey, and then the miraculous surprise win for Jey. I need more time, but that might be a top 5 Royal Rumble. All time. I gave it 4 3/4 stars because, it was nearly flawless. Nearly 5 stars, but 4 3/4 stars. I don't care what Cage Match says. That was one of the best booked Royal Rumbles ever. What did you think?
The matchup itself was good. Well paced. Similar to last year. I thought last year, the pace for the matches for the men's Royal Rumble match was actually really good. But then also the winner was kind of just up there, you didn't know who was gonna win. And in a sense, this year you kind of didn't know who was gonna win. I mean, you had options. You had options, but it kind of wasn't very clear, right? Me personally, the person that I had winning was probably Roman Reigns. I know people were saying Punk. I had Roman winning. But them going with Jey, I mean, that's definitely a choice. Which is, it could be good or bad, it could be good or bad. I don't, like I said earlier, I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. So I'm not angry about it. It's just kind of, it was funny because I was laughing when he won. I was laughing because it was just holy shit, what the fuck just happened? I was laughing the whole time. You can ask Wendy. I kept laughing because it was just yo, they really fucking did that. What really got to me, and she could even defend me on this, was that the fact when Punk, when all got eliminated, Roman, Seth at the same time, and then Punk got eliminated, and my fucking reaction, I said, what? I was watching the TV, and that's what I said, because I was yo, what just happened? And then when I see it was cool, Logan, Jey, and Cena left, I was oh shit. That means
I was oh man, Cena's winning.
Gonna win. I was Cena's winning. Cena's winning. And then when he lost, I was what the fuck just happened? I was I couldn't believe it. to me, it's more funny than anything, and like that's why I said like I said, on my end, the reaction I've been seeing, it's been if people who are high on it have been super high on it. People who are down on it have been completely shitted on it, right?
Yeah.
Because they're saying, because they're talking about Jey Uso, like his status, they're like, damn, you went with Jey Uso, you could have gone with Roman, you could have gone with Punk, you went with Jey Uso, basically, trying to discredit Jey Uso. I know Jaquan made up a good point too, because Jaquan wasn't upset about it. He was laughing too, but he was just like, you just had this man like lose, like, and then he gets rewarded with a Royal Rumble win. So he's like, so anything that you do after, like before that, doesn't even matter at this point now. So you could just win the Rumble and nothing else matters, which kind of was a good point that he made, because it was like, yeah, I could see that. And just thinking about it overall, it's just my thing is like, you give him the role, and I get what they're trying to do with the whole Gunther thing, because Gunther's beating him multiple times, and then probably giving that big win to Jey Uso to win the title. I don't know. I'm that in itself, I'm pretty mixed about, just because Gunther hasn't had the most like pleasing world title run that we kind of expected, right? And then now he's probably getting fed to Jey at WrestleMania. And it's kind of like, it's one of those things where it's like, damn, this was a guy that potentially could have been like an undisputed champion. And then now he's probably losing to Jey Uso at WrestleMania. It's tough. It's very tough, because I can understand why people are happy for Jey again, everything that he's been through, everything he's worked hard for. He's definitely worked hard. I'm never gonna take it away from that. I'm never gonna take that away from Jey on a personal level. But it's just the idea of it after, like, just thinking about it is like, damn, like that's gonna happen at WrestleMania, and it's just like, are you confident enough for that to be the main event, right? For like night one or something, because it's a world title match. But then if it's anything less than not a main event, what does that kind of tell you too? Like, if that happens, right? So it's a tough spot, realistically. Maybe I'm overlooking it, and those kind of little things that I'm looking at it, I'm just like, he wins the Royal Rumble, and then he's probably going to beat Gunther. But then, like, what happens if that doesn't main event? And remind you, a year ago, he arguably had the worst match on WrestleMania.
That's what surprised me about this move, is that how do you trust Jey Uso after he had that horrible match the year prior?
And if Chase is still watching, I give credit to Chase, because he did break it down easily. I think it was last week when we were talking about Jey Uso, or like 2 weeks ago, where he was talking about like his wrestling, like within like the middle of the match, or like his thing, like his arsenal. He hasn't really improved on that. Like, he's been the same. Like, he's been like tag team Jey Uso, like his style.
He knows how to make the early rally, and he knows how to make the comeback at the end. He doesn't know the middle stuff, and he's not as engaging as like selling a beating in a singles match as he was like as a babyface in peril in a tag team match.
Yeah, and I think that's what kind of like does worry me. Like, those little things do worry me. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, and WWE, they don't care about the wrestling a lot. They don't do this. They don't do that. For the most part, that is true. But at the same time, those things do matter regardless. And you have a guy who's basically, I don't want to call him mid, but it's like, if he's not the caliber of Roman, he's not the caliber of Punk. Because again, Punk is not like the best. He calls himself the best in the world, but what he's great at is his storytelling. That's what carries his matches. It's his storytelling. And Jey is not that. So it's kind of like, again, they made the choice, and I get why they made the choice. He's very popular. He sells a lot of merch. He's a great hype man. They've been pairing him with rappers every time he comes out in his entrance. They already did it twice already. I get it. He's super popular, and they're going with the guy that they feel like is very popular and who probably gonna move more merch while they're doing that for WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. But those little things are questionable. Like, there's things
Yeetamania shirts are gonna be sold out in
And again, like, I get it. Like, it's a money thing, and it's business. I'm never gonna, like that's what it is, right? It's the WWE business. But again, there are things that are questionable, and I think those are valid. Points to be kind of concerned with. But also on the same time, I'm not going to completely bury it. I'm not going to hate it like a lot of people are. Like there's people who are legit like pissed off about it. People wanted unpredictability, and this was probably the most unpredictable fucking win ever for Royal Rumble. I also don't think it's the worst winner. I know people were saying that, and I was like, not close.
Not even close.
We've had Vince McMahon win a Royal Rumble, and we have Jim Duggan, who's won a Royal Rumble. So I mean,
and Big John Stud.
Yeah, Big John Stud.
And Ronda Rousey in 2022.
And then I think when Big
and
John
Brock Lesnar in 2022. Roman Reigns in 2015. Alberto Del Rio in 2011.
And that was the most boring one. And that was the most boring one.
Hell, I think The Rock is one of the greatest of all time. The Rock's win in 2000? That shit sucked. He didn't win. He didn't even win. His feet touched. He didn't even win. That's worse.
Yeah, so I'm like, when people are saying that, I was like, nah, that definitely wasn't the worst. Like that was not the worst. That was not the worst.
For all you youngsters, Lex Luger and Bret Hart tied in 1994. That's worse.
There's a lot of worse, and I'm like, guys, like, there's been a lot of worse winners.
This is not.
Jay is not the worst.
Go right now. Go right. You know what? I'll share the link. I'll share the link with y'all in the chat. I literally did what is right now, I believe, what Rick Ucchino told me the most words written for a takedown on SI.com for our wrestling section. As far as articles, I did the longest article on the site since it's been rebranded. I did a ranking of every Royal Rumble winner before last night. Dude, this shit is not even in the bottom 10. In bottom 10, bottom 15. It's not even close. I just shared the link with y'all. Y'all just look at the people that's in the bottom half and really think about it. Is Jey Uso worse than all those people? No. Like I'll just go through the first couple. We already went through a couple of them. Vince McMahon, Ronda Rousey, Roman Reigns.
Oh, I'll also add Batista when he won.
Oh, Batista in 2014. Yes, but he's better than he's better than Braun Strowman, greatest Royal Rumble winner. Better than Yokozuna in 93, Lex Luger in 94, Bret Hart in 94, Charlotte in 2020. Hell, I would put it even above Seth in 2019.
That's true. I'm like, so there's been worse. Like, there's been worse. There's a lot worse. And again, like, this move is I think it's more of a business. It's more of a business move than anything. And that's okay, right? In the business, you're trying to make money. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's how I see it. But again, unpredictability. That's what people wanted. And this was very unpredictable because, again, people had Roman winning. People had Punk winning. Those were the two heavy favorites that were winning. Nobody else really. And Cena, right? So you could say those three people were kind of leaning with those three, more so Punk, because, people, like this whole idea of, Punk is still owed a main event. And, the favor that they mentioned with Paul Heyman, those play factors. So he was like almost, I would say, compared to those three, he was probably more the favorite because of that. Then we got Jey Uso winning. So
because of the quality of this Royal Rumble, Jay's win is better than both Triple H wins. And I really like the 2002 win, but it's better than that.
It's kind of like, kind of reminds me of, it's like if the Avengers did a Royal Rumble. This is like Ant-Man winning the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty accurate actually.
I like Ant-Man, so it's not like it's an insult. I like Ant-Man.
This is the equivalent of if AEW would have had the Outrunners win the tag team titles last year.
I agree with that. It's a similar, like, right? And in this case, right, with Outrunners winning, that would have been like what strike, but the iron is hot. With Jey Uso, he's been hot for a minute.
Yeah,
Jey Uso's been hot for a minute, even with all the losses. Like he's been good, and people still hype one day, you know, when he comes out. But again, overall, like me personally, I'm happy for Jey on a personal level.
Yeah, this would be like the Outrunners winning the tag team titles now.
Yeah. Imagine beating the Hurt Business. Oh boy. Oh, about that. Oh boy. That'll be a very good look for the Hurt Business. I'm just saying. But I mean, on a personal level, I am happy for Jey. He's worked hard. And it's one of those things where the discourse of the fan reaction is kind of like, again, people absolutely hate it or they fucking love it. I also, you know, people were trying to say, hey, you know, this is how you built stars. You know, they're trying to like take a shot at AEW. AEW has built stars. And then for the fact that people trying to use this whole thing of Jey being a young star, Jay's turning 40 this year, guys. He's not young. So I just want to make
they're not exactly making a new star. Like when they made Damian Priest last year, I was just like, well, I mean, they had to because he's like 41.
You know, and Damian Priest was a different situation because Damian Priest, for his own entire career, has always been very mid-card static. He's always been a very mid-card guy. Where Jey has been in since 2020. Has been in favorite prominent storylines and matches, and he was in the Bloodline, hot storyline, tag team champions. He had the main event already at a WrestleMania tag team match against Sammy and KO, and that was a 5-star match. So he has the experience. And again, like, you know, on a personal level, you know, it's a good thing for him. You know, he's worked hard. Prime example of working hard. You know, like if you work hard, you know, good things will come, right? So on that level, you know, I'm happy for him. On the other hand, like business-wise, or whatever the case may be, when it comes to like where to go forward, you know, obviously there's skepticism. I think that's okay to have that. But I mean, overall, like I said, Barry Pop, the most unpredictable winner. As far as the Royal Rumble itself, like some of the surprises, you know, like Penta came out second against Ray. That was a good thing. It was a little slow between them, I would say. It was a little slow between Ray and Penta. Maybe they were trying to just wait. Maybe more guys come in. But one thing that I did notice compared to the women's and to the men's, right? And this was a good thing that I noticed because the stat line on the bottom, right? That was new, right? I don't think they had that last year, right? Right. So I'm looking at the stats, right? And I'm just like looking at it, right? For the women, I think there was at some point in time where there were like 17 women eliminated, 14 still active or some shit, right? 14 women in a row. I mean, that's a lot at the same time.
No, they had 17 in the ring.
17 at one point. That's a lot, first of all. That's a lot of people. In the men's, you kind of saw it was like 9 active, or like they said they had like 21 eliminated, 5 active. Their numbers were short, if you notice that. Their numbers were very short of the guys who were like
guys could get quick eliminations. Like Braun got 2 quick.
Yeah.
Roman got 4 in 2 minutes. Jacob Fatu had 3 in 2 minutes. Like, yeah, they got guys who picked up some eliminations in like rapid succession.
Yeah, and I think that's, I mean, honestly, that probably kind of made the match a little bit better because it wasn't all clunky. It wasn't a clusterfuck. You know, and then also a lot of people not give him credit. I'm gonna give him credit. I Show Speed did his thing. The kid showed out. Regardless of people might be upset, hey, he's not a wrestler. Why is he in? I guess, you know, like because the whole very hardcore fans are like, you know, he's not a wrestler. Why are you giving him the spot for, right? I thought it was well done the way they did it, right? Triple H, hey, Speed, go out there. He's like, what? No. And then as soon as the music hit, the kid was hyped. Like, yeah, it went from like, no, scared, then he's fucking excited. And then, you know, he got more eliminations than Joe Henry, the fucking TNA champion. I'm gonna get that out there, right? The man, Joe Henry.
Very Joe Hendry.
I mean, I have to. I'm sorry. I mean, this dude's not here. Call me Mr. Bonda. I'm gonna do it for him. But I show speed. I mean, taking that bump, that was sick. The fucking spear. I give Braun credit because Speed wasn't lined up for it because he did that. No. He did the turn, and then Braun just went straight to him, which I thought like that's kind of just great ring awareness of what you're doing. And the kid turned around at the right time. And yo, that replay, he could see,
that's just a gif, like, especially, did you see the speed up gif one where it just shows him doing the flip and you just see Braun running back and forth and then it hits him and he hits him out of the screen? Oh my god, that's gonna be replayed for like the rest of this year.
He took two big bumps, honestly. He took two big bumps.
Because the bump onto the table did not look like it was nice.
Yo, he sold it too. Like and then I think they even asked him like while they're on commentary, "Hey kid, are you okay?" Like, So I wanted to give that, I show Speed his credit. Again, I get it. He could be annoying, but he's just a kid having fun, and he's built his platform. I gotta respect it regardless. The kid hustled, and I gotta respect it. He did his thing. As far as I was mentioning with Joe Henry, I mean, it was cool seeing him. I kind of expected it, but I was like, damn, he was there for like less than 5 minutes, and Roman was the one that eliminated him. TNA, that's what all that tells me.
Gotta love TNA.
TNA. That kind of reminded me of. That what kind of reminded me of. Remember last year at the pep rally for WrestleMania when they announced Cody versus Roman, when he did "Get out of here." So Seth, like, get out of here. Who is this? Get out of here. Him eliminating Joe Henry. That's what that reminded me of, honestly. Like,
Oh, so I have a new update. As of 1:16 p.m., Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble currently has 15,315 likes versus 25,903 dislikes on YouTube, and a rating of 2.49 out of 4 stars. Looks like this wasn't a popular decision by any stretch, says Dr. Chris Featherstone.
I mean, it might not be popular, but the company don't give a shit. So it's like they're gonna make money off of it, regardless. People are gonna be upset, but they're gonna, like you said, they're gonna see those Ye Mania shirts, and they're gonna buy it. They're gonna buy it.
Absolutely. And there was 65,000 in attendance at there was 65,000 in attendance that were cheering for Jey Uso. So
yeah,
you have to think about the numbers really in totality. Maybe the internet didn't like it, but the fans in attendance like it, and they'll buy those t-shirts.
Yeah, and also I'm not gonna compare it to the same because like remember like last year with The Rock, right? Remember when The Rock implemented himself to face Roman, and then there was like the same thing ratio wise. People hated it. Fans got crazy in the arena itself. But then this is kind of a different kind of aspect to that because it wasn't the same. Because, again, the whole outcry of we want Cody and that kind of took over things. People are not going to be against this. They're not going to be a we want Punk kind of thing that's going to change anything. But you mentioned the crowd thing. 65,000 people for Indianapolis. I mean, that's a good turnout. That's the most attended stadium show for WWE, not named WrestleMania. 40. It outdid every WrestleMania except for last year. Yeah, so 65,000. I mean, I hate the 70,000 thing. Like, it's like even when you round, I'm like, it ain't no fucking 70,000. Even when you round it up, like, can you just be accurate? 65,000 is still a great number. It's a great number for.
I know. I'm trying to correct Rick right now in our Sports Illustrated chat because he's saying, 70,000 fans were yeeting, so obviously it wasn't a bad decision to them. And I put with the star 65,000.
65,000. They even showed the graphic. How are you gonna say 70,000 and then legit show the graphic with the number?
It's like damn, niggas can't even let you lie. Can't lie out here. All right, y'all. We've made it to the home stretch here for our thing. So Remember, guys, if you haven't already, drop the thumbs up on this video, share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We do have a couple of super chat donations to read. First up, we got Chuck Berries. Thank you so much, Chuck Berries, for the support. He says, happy for Jey, but why did he tell Jackie that he's coming for Gunther and the world title? At least try not to be so obvious of your intention so soon. I think that it's fairly obvious that that's probably the title that they would have him go, especially if he's going to win. But I wouldn't put it out the realm of possibility that they could do Jey versus Cody, because that would just be a follow-up of Cody's overarching story of this WWE run. WrestleMania 39, he versus Roman. WrestleMania 40, he versus Roman. SummerSlam, he versus Solo. WrestleMania 41, instead of The Rock, he faces Jey Uso. You can, if Cody is leaning heel, Jey Uso would be a cool person, and he could be like, I was the one who was supposed to finish my story. Now I'm gonna finish my story against you.
Yeah, and it's just crazy because when you mention that, I was like, damn, you go from The Rock to Jey Uso. Oh. Damn.
I mean,
both
are more popular than him anyway.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I know. I mean, I can understand that, but it's just like, oh, like that's kind of a big jump. Like,
Chuck Berry says, I would not mind a fatal 4-way for the WWE title, similar to WrestleMania 2000, but without the McMahons in each corner. Who would be in the 4-way? Or what are you talking about? Are you talking about with Roman, Seth, and Punk? If one of those three beat Gunther for the world title, and then you do like a 4-way with Jey? That seems convoluted.
Yeah, but then also you kind of fall into that problem where it's like you just put all your top stars in the same fucking matchup, and what does that do going forward? I don't know.
True. Also true. Thank you so much, Chuck Berries, for all the super chat donations. We appreciate you, good sir. We got Chilling with Chase, who says Jey winning, pissed off Cena nostalgia fans, the crazy Punk fans, the Roman stands. That's a tough battle to overcome. Yes,
it is. But I mean, Cena. I mean, the way they're going with Cena, I mean, he's obviously going to win the Elimination Chamber. So it's like those fans shouldn't be pissed off about it. And then also, and people want to see Cena win number 17. Me personally, I love John Cena, right? I think he's, my opinion, the WWE GOAT. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If he doesn't win number 17, it is what it is. 16 is still a lot, and he's still accomplished his career. But
yeah, I think he is going to hit 17. They wouldn't make it. They wouldn't push this as such a big story if he's not going to hit 17. I think he should do. I think he should win number 17 at WrestleMania. I don't know if you saw the podcast yesterday, but I predicted what they were going to do. I said Cena wins against Cody Rhodes, and then the Raw after WrestleMania, he gets destroyed in 3 minutes to the new champion, Jacob Fatu. Cena wins number 17, becomes the greatest champion ever, and then the greatest champion ever gets destroyed by the Samoan werewolf. And then WWE, the key to this is because Rick Eugenio had told me, he thinks Cody should beat Cena, and then Jacob Fatu destroy Cody. I was like, no, that makes no sense. Cody's going to be here. He should destroy Cena, because Cena's not going to be here after this year. And we know that Cena at some point throughout this year is going to take like a 1 or 2 month break. It'll probably be after WrestleMania. And then he'll come back around Money in the Bank and SummerSlam season. So you have him destroy him on the Raw after WrestleMania. Jacob Fatu becomes a champion because he has ready-made feuds with everybody. He could have another match with Cena. He could face Cody. He could face Jey Uso. He could face Roman Reigns. He could even Jacob Fatu having WWE Championship makes his feud with Braun Strowman a bigger feud than it already is. Like, that's what I say. Jacob Fatu, he's the guy they need to make this year, and I think that's the best way to do it.
That sounds kind of. I mean, it does kind of sound pretty insane.
Hey,
But
insanity is where we're at in WWE.
I mean, hey, I'm just saying it sounds kind of crazy because I'm just like, hey, Trips, is that in your GPS that you always fucking talk about?
It's a GPS, and we're just leading. We're just trying to get things to Roman versus Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania 43. So that does fit in the
I was
GPS,
like,
and
imagine you say
I can
that. Like,
find.
imagine he says that. I'm like, bro, we haven't had WrestleMania 42 yet.
well, WrestleMania 42 is going to be Roman
Like,
versus The Rock. I'm sure that The Rock is going to be done with filming by then. But yes, so let us know in the chat your match of the night, your MVP, your LVP. Out of 10, what did you give the show? Whether you gave the show a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle for me and Josh for the WWE Royal Rumble 2025 event in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs up across the board from both of us. Out of 10, Josh, what did you give the show?
I'm giving like a 7.5. 7.5 for me. Again, the women's Royal Rumble, I don't think it was like too crazy. Nothing to go really home about, in my opinion. The tag match, like I said before, I didn't like it that much. It's unfortunate. I just didn't like it that much. And then like the last 2 matches, that basically what that was like that basically what did it for the show. Like basically, it was a 2-match show for me. But they're really good. Like the ladder match was really good, and then the Royal Rumble not only was only really good, but then it had like the most unpredictable winner in its history of the Royal Rumble. So
yeah,
I mean, overall it was positive. The crowd did get into it towards the Royal. There was a lot of times where I was just like, man, what's up with this crowd? Like this crowd kind of like, what the fuck? Are they like sleeping or what's up? Right? But then they picked it up. They really picked it up for the ladder match and then the Royal Rumble. Like they were hot for the most part in the Royal Rumble match. So, I mean, it was pretty good for them. And then, I've been seeing all the stuff for what they were doing over there. They're really trying to do their due diligence with, partnering up with Indianapolis because we have 2 more events apparently for them, right? We have WrestleMania and another show, SummerSlam, right? So for a first one, for their first show for the Royal Rumble, I thought it was really good. Like, and 65,000 for the Royal Rumble, I think is only speaks positive and it's a good thing for them going forward when they do Mania. So, yeah.
I think that this was the best WWE PLE since last year's WrestleMania 40.
Oof.
That's how much I enjoyed this show. I gave this show an 8.5 out of 10. I gave WrestleMania 40 on night 2 a 9 out of 10. This is like one notch below that. I think that is a notch above Survivor Series, which I was very high on. But yeah, I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. I think that the women's matchup had its issues, but the closing stretch was a lot of fun, and the surprise returns were great. I thought that the WWE Tag Team title match was a strong bout. Then you had the ladder match. That was one of my favorite ladder matches in WWE in recent memory. And then the men's Royal Rumble match, in my eyes, recency bias be damned, I think it's a top 5 booked Royal Rumble matchup. Maybe not in execution because not everybody's happy with it, but as far as how it was laid out, how it was booked, it's one of the best ever. Shocking winner included. Match of the night, I'm gonna go with Cody versus KO. Even me saying how much I love the men's Royal Rumble match, and I think I did give it a higher rating. I give it 4 3/4 in comparison to the 4.5 stars for Cody and KO. Cody and KO, there's no bad fan vibes around that one, so I'll give that one match of the night.
I mean, I still give it to the men's Royal Rumble match. Regardless of what people say, again, people are very high on it. People are very low on it. They're gonna, run with that. But I mean, overall, I mean, it was a good matchup, well-paced, unpredictable winner, and had me laughing. I'd rather laugh than be pissed.
And then your MVP for the show, Josh.
MVP. I'm gonna go with Jey Uso. He won.
Gotta go with Jey Uso. This most surprising, shocking Royal Rumble winner ever. Jesus, I can't believe it. And honorable mention to Alexa Bliss for that pop. Jesus. Even more than Charlotte for me. Alexa Bliss, the one, that pop impressed the hell out of me. And then the LVP for the show. Who's your LVP for the show?
My LVP. TNA. You had your champion go out there less than 5 minutes, eliminate nobody, and then lose. You had your top star in the company eliminate the guy.
My LVP for the show? The NXT men's division.
Oh, shit.
The women's Royal Rumble, Josh, had 5 women from the NXT brand. How many were in the men's Royal Rumble?
I think it was 0.
0. So,
Right.
yes, the men's division had 0 participants in the men's Royal Rumble, which is a big indication of where things stand. But I do have to mention, I do agree with Chase. It's a co-LVP. I'll go the NXT men's division and Lyra Valkyria because the booking of Lyra since she won the Intercontinental title is disgusting.
Yeah, and it's very. I mean, it's unfortunate because Dakota did get injured again, but I'm like,
that got nothing to do with the tea in China.
No. I mean, as in, like, I know she got injured, but I thought she was gonna be like, I thought they should get the belt to her.
Yeah, and
then I don't know what they're doing with it. You gave this woman the title, and she been worse with the title. She been worse with the title. So what the fuck? Like,
they're booking her just as bad with the title than she.
And that's a WWE problem. And like, people are gonna say drips, but I mean, hey, like you said, right? Who taught Triple H how to book, right? And you and you see it a lot with Triple H. He has a lot of bad habits from the old man. And this is one of them. Like, giving somebody a mid-card title, then they're worse. I don't know what they're doing with that. But that was a good LVP because I was like, I totally forgot about her.
Yeah, that's what I said. I gave it up to Chase for putting that in the chat because I was like, I was just gonna give it to the men's division and they weren't even on the show. So,
NXT, but the thing is that Trick was there. He was there at the arena.
Exactly.
You got have everybody chant "whoop that Trick" because
he would have got one of the biggest pops of the show coming out. Like, that's crazy to me. But that brings us to the end of our WWE Royal Rumble 2025 review. We are all done with Royal Rumble weekend, but we are not done streaming. I will be live in about an hour. If Chase is still out there, we'll be going live about 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern time over on True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment. Because, yes, we got to talk about some Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers. So join us live over there on the main channel. Even though we did not hit our goal, we appreciate all the super chat donations. So we will be doing that stream over on True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment. So if you want to talk some B-ball, join us over there. Josh, in the meantime, between time, let everybody know where they can follow you on social media.
You can follow me on Instagram. That's where I'm currently at the moment in the meantime. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, you can follow me mostly on Instagram. I like that app better anyway. And I'll be back next Saturday for THH. I'll be back. I got no events coming up in the meantime, so I'll be back.
Yes, indeed. And yes, I will be there on next Saturday for the True Hill Heat flagship podcast. I will be back live with all of you guys here on the channel on Tuesday for Rated Raw reviewing the post Royal Rumble Monday Night Raw on Netflix. It'll be me and Romeo. We'll get any additional thoughts about Romeo, who is going to be insufferable now that Charlotte Flair is back and she's won the Royal Rumble. But I'm going to be as insufferable to him because the Lakers beat the Los Angeles Lakers beat the New York Knicks and then turned around and got Luka Doncic. So I'm living the good life. I'm living a good life. So join us on True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment to talk more about Luka to the Lakers. Join us for that. Join us on Tuesday for Rated Raw Review. We will have probably a THH cut for the AEW and WWE champions dropping tomorrow here on the channel. Wednesday, I believe, don't have anything on Wednesday. So maybe another THH cut, but I'll be back on Thursday for AE Ramble as well. So stay on the lookout for that. You can follow us on the Twitter machine at True Hill Heat. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, patreon.com/True Hill Heat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content. Go over and check out our TNA Genesis review that's over there as well. And check out all the great content we got on the channel right now, like yesterday's flagship podcast, True Hill Heat 314, with myself and Miss Chrissy Love talking about this week in wrestling, including Brock Lesnar being named in the Vince McMahon Janelle Grant lawsuit. So check that out over there as well. But thank you so much to Josh. Thank you so much to all of you who joined us today. This was a lot of fun reviewing the big premium live event from WWE to start off 2025. So for Josh, it is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This has been our WWE Royal Rumble 2025 review. We are signing off until next time.